It's Tuesday, November 17th, 3029. The third week of Operation Bronze Medal. Lyran forces have fallen silent, and Lieutenant Sassy, upset of having been upstaged by infantry, is looking for trouble. She spots what originally seems to be a light patrol of Lyran forces and attempts a breakthrough in order to go gain valuable intel. But unfortunately, she may have bitten off more than she can chew. On site are additionally a whole lance of heavy and assault mechs waiting to intercept her roving band. Although it is a heavy lance, it is mostly made up of medium and medium mechs, and may not be able to take on this much force. Other elements of X Company are en route to reinforce, but can they arrive in time? Or has Lieutenant Sassy finally bitten off more than she can chew? Let's find out together during this exciting mission. So yeah, that's kind of where we stand. We didn't have any engagements last week, pretty quiet. Allowed us some time to rearm, refit, and especially get that Tallman fixed. And as you can see, we're actually doing pretty hot. We were able to. I had to switch things around for last week because that Tallman arm replace. It took a while to get the arm delivered. Took a while to get it refitted. But since we managed to get that in, pretty much within a week, because we got an excellent damn repair crew, we were good to reset everything back to the way it was. And I kind of decided, since we had no contacts, to go ahead and put Firebrand out on a scouting role with the hopes that we would be able to get something that was just full of vehicles and maybe finally get Dagger some more experience that she desperately needs. Especially because we could hopefully rely on Avenger Lance to come and support that. But instead of them picking on Firebrand Lance this time, they actually picked on Big Sky. Well, I guess actually saying they picked on isn't exactly right. This is a Recon Raid attacker, so we're picking on them, but the problem is what it spawned is perhaps a bit more than we can chew. The Orion, Warhammer, an Archer, and a Banshee. These are all heavy and assault mechs. Orion's a heavy mech. It's got a AC-10 and just shitloads of armor and is got a couple medium lasers to back it up. It's just a big brawler mech that's designed to get stuck in and take hits. The Warhammer, if I'm remembering correctly, is a sniper mech that's just PPC laden. The Archer is a missile boat. I can't remember whether it's technically a heavy or an assault. Just can't quite remember which side of the, whether it's a 75 ton or an 80 ton. I'll get in there and remember. And the Banshee is definitely an assault, although it's a weird one. It's a fast assault. It's got, we actually had one of these back in the previous campaign, and as you might have noticed, it was really light on armament until we refitted it a bunch. That's probably how this one is also, but even without any significant armament, the Banshee is a big kicking machine, and if it gets close to any of our guys, it can really wreck up their legs. On top of that is a light lance, which, my story is kind of Sassy saw all this stuff out there. Technically, because of seniority, Lieutenant Ueda Zero should be in charge of this, but he's super laid back and he's like, look, you just do your thing. You've been in charge of these guys for this whole time. You know what you're doing. And Sassy's always been spoiling for a fight and was pretty upset that those infantry kind of upstaged her and figured out a way to counter the enemy forces without actually having to fight them. So she's a little upset at that and is now looking for a fight. Saw just these light mechs, which a commando, a stinger, an urban mech, and a wasp. Nothing super scary there. Uh, Commando, we've seen that before. Urban mech, we've seen that before. Stinger and wasp, those are buckets. Don't worry about them. But I guess she didn't see these heavy mechs because even though we could probably slug it out with those guys, it's going to be a messy fight. Because both the Orion and the Banshee are heavily armored, very difficult to knock out mechs. Now, that said, This is one I'd love to go on if I can get reinforcements from anyone. Because if I can get any reinforcements, help kind of tip the tide of tonnage, then taking out that Orion, Warhammer, Archer, and Banshee, because this is a recon raid. It's one of those ones where technically, due to what you have to do to solve the mission, you can actually just sit there and nuke everything on the field and take it all home as salvage. But and taking home those 4 heavies and also the 4 lights in salvage would do wonders for not only potentially our money situation but also our roster if any of them came home particularly intact. For example, I'd love to get that Archer, love to get that Warhammer. The Orion would be okay, and the Banshee, well, I'd probably sell because I'm not going to take the time it would take to refit that guy into something useful. um, the Commando, the Stinger, the Urban Mech, and the Wasp, those are all just worth money to me, and I'd love to take them home because of that. This is the first time I think we're ever fighting just a pure mech pod. I mean, apart from the fight that Commander Kobe got into when he was ambushed, but this is the first time the enemy hasn't failed at any vehicle elements. This is 2 lances, a light lance and a heavy lance. Pretty sure that's just a heavy lance, even though it's got some pretty heavy heavies in it. In any case, I guess what that means is let's check whether we've got some options available for reinforcements and then figure out how we're going from there. So, first off, thing we do have, and I know Sassy's going to hate me for mentioning this, is we still do have our infantry element doing recon. So it's possible we've got to skip on this one. We'd need to roll a 6. We didn't, so we're just short of that. So we don't have an option to skip this one. I mean, we can, but it would be a breach of contract, and our employer would hate us for it. And we've been getting on pretty well with the Draconis. I want to earn their respect a little bit. I mean, they're not going to. They hate mercenaries' guts, but what can you do? Okay, but then we do also have Central. Central is a fight lance, and it didn't get engaged, so it can also reinforce on a 6. Well, no such luck. That's sad. They would have really turned the tide. But we do also have Firebrand. Firebrand is not as heavy, but they are they do have some mechs in there that would help, and they're in a scout position, so they could reinforce on a 5 or a 6. Aha! Okay, so Firebrand will be coming along. So we can rely on them to help turn the tide with a little extra tonnage there. And lastly, we do have Avenger Lance, our quick reaction air force that can come in on a 5 or a 6. All right, they're coming also. Now that one does actually require me to do a little bit of extra setup. So one big thing that I'm going to be using these planes for, I still need to get this guy some backstory. Using these planes for is not so much using them for direct piling shots. One problem that they can have if you use them for like doing actual dive bomb shooting at the enemy things is they have to get kind of close, and then if they get close, they can take shots, and if they can take shots, then they can take significant damage, and if they take significant damage, they can be forced to make piloting rolls. And even though these guys are pretty excellent pilots, if they flub the piloting rolls, they can lose like a ton of altitude, and if they lose a ton of altitude, they crash and then they explode, and it's just a nasty situation for everyone involved. So instead, I plan on using them to carry into battle some ordnance. One of the things that these guys can carry is bombs. Now, I've been buying up a bunch of cluster bombs. I've got currently sitting in my warehouse. Let's see here. Yeah, 50 cluster bombs that I can deploy out into battle. And judicious use of those cluster bombs can sort of saturate an area, weaken up all of the stuff in it, and allow us to come in and actually zot the hell out of it, while our aerospace fighters just kind of zoom around and either come around for another shot or disengage entirely. So what I'm going to do is The Hellcat here is a lighter one. It means it's faster, but honestly, as you'll see, the speed of aerospace fighters versus the speed of mechs makes that largely pointless. So, but because of his really high base speed, I can outload him with a full loadout, and so I am, of 12 cluster bombs that he's carrying. That's going to actually, when we're actually in the field, that'll nuke his movement somewhat, but it totally won't matter. The Chippewa is slightly slower, and because of that, I don't want to load it down with as much of its full load. How many bombs you can carry on your wing pylons is pretty much a function of your total tonnage, so we could carry up to 18, but carrying all of those would really nuke her total move speed. So, since we're already carrying 12 on the Hellcat, I figure we'll carry just as many on the Chippewa, and that'll give us 24 potential saturations, and that should be more than enough for them to pull their weight in this situation. And worst case scenario, I can start doing some strafing runs. This is going to be the first time I've actually used aerospace fighters on a recording. I've done this before, I've used them in Mech HQ and Mega Mech, so I know how to use them. But boy, I hope I don't embarrass myself by just face planting them. Anyway, we've got them equipped with bombs. We know who's coming out on the mission. We have Firebrand Lance reinforcing, and we've got Avenger Lance reinforcing. So, with all of this that's coming in, I think that we stand a pretty good chance of being able to hold the line, sort of wait it out. We've got flatlands, but with a town ruin in it. That town ruin kind of works to my advantage because I sort of want to mess up the enemy's sight lines with broken up pieces until I can get my reinforcements in. So we'll kind of hold the line, take pot shots at anything that comes at us, keep them at bay, and wait for reinforcements to come. And once we get reinforcements on site, even though, the reinforcements in mech terms is kind of light, the Crusader's a heavy, that's nice. The Centurion's a medium, it's got a good weapon. The Urban Mech and the Urban Mech is, well, it's an Urban Mech. I'm not particularly impressed with its ability, and the Wolverine unfortunately has a bad pilot, but it'll be tonnage that we can rely on uh, to take shots, and at the very least she can pilot out there and get hit with ordnance. And then we'll have ordnance coming in of our own. So let's get on the ground and let's see how well we can handle this. Just a quick check real quick. Am I actually recording? Yes. All right. I'm always nervous about that. Anyway, let's get started. I hope that the music wasn't loud on this. I didn't test it as much as I did on the last one. I just kind of threw that together. Hello? Well, don't click over on it. It sometimes takes a while to think, and I am throwing an awful lot of unit. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, I'm throwing a lot of units at it with a lot of rules. Okay. So we do significantly out BV them, considering all our reinforcements, out ton them, out cost them. Cost is really the worst way to compare things. Tons the second worst way. Really, BV is the only actual balance that you should look at in terms of whether something is good. Now, initially, we'll just have the first things that'll deploy on the ground are the Wolverine, the Wasp, the Shadowhawk, because the Ostsal and Trebuchet will deploy right before the first turn, which actually works out kind of well, because that means that they're effectively things that we get to deploy after we know where all the enemy is. That I never really thought about that, but their slightly slowness makes them perfect. On round 7, we will get our air forces, and they will come in and start dishing out bombs. Let me just check to make sure that those bombs are there. Yep, he's got 12 cluster bombs. There are a lot of other options there, but for this time period, a lot of the more advanced bombs had gone extinct, and we haven't really recreated them yet. The options that we can pick right now are high explosive bombs. They target a single hex and deal 10 damage to the stuff that's in that hex. Cluster bombs target a single hex and deal 5 damage to everything in that hex and the 5 hexes around it. Or the 6 hexes, that's what hex means, idiot, around it. Rockets aren't a bomb, they're just another weapon that you can fire while doing a dive bomb. And, well, not a dive bomb, but like a strafing run, a fire run, I forget exactly what it's called. But point is that you can fire them along with everything else and they won't add any additional heat, but once you fire them, they're out. And there's also laser guided bombs, which is kind of weird because we actually don't have the tag technology yet to actually guide those bombs in. Um, but that's just, they apparently exist even though we don't have the right technology to support them. Other bombs come onto the scene as time goes on. And on turn, well, then over the next couple of turns, because looks like on round 9 the Crusader comes in. Round 9 the Urban Mech comes in. Yeah, okay, so on turn 7 we get those. On turn 9 we get the rest of our reinforcements from Firebrand. Until then, we have to deal with a 75-ton Orion. That's the heaviest heavy. Okay, so the Archer's a little lighter than I thought. So these are definitely heavy, 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 heavy. Let's take a look at which specific brand of Orion this is. He's the one that has, yep, AC-10, 2 SRM-4s, 2 medium lasers. He is a brawler mech. He has maxed out armor. He is tough as fuck. He's got normal movement for a heavy. So he is designed to just get up close, scrap, and then just kick out legs. This guy is nasty. I don't want to get close to him. The Warhammer, as you can probably see by the little glow, is packing a PPC, and there are some models that pack just a fucking third PPC, but this one seems to be more moderate. It's got some weapons for if he gets into close range, medium laser, small laser, machine gun, and SRM-6. So this guy takes a more balanced approach, but he is packing 2 PPCs, and as we've seen, that shit can hurt. Berger has been demonstrating that. The Archer is just going to be packed with 2 LRM-20s, 2 medium lasers, and 2 medium butt lasers. The LRM-20s are the thing to really worry about here because it can, if it lands those shots on target, those do like an average of 12 damage, spread out across 3 areas, but can do up to 20. They can just do some nasty stripping and crit procking because of how heavily a LRM-20 lands. And that's going to give him pretty extreme range. The last guy, the Banshee, is okay, so this is the model that's packing a PPC, which is okay, he can do out some moderate damage, but his real attraction as a assault mech, a 95-ton assault mech, 5 tons lighter than assault mechs can be maximum, is that he's got a movement 4 just as much as all of his friends here, and can rush up with his 95 tons of kick ass, get on top of your mech, and then kick them right in the leg for like, what? Let's see here. 19 damn damage. Nearly as much as an AC-20 shot, and it's going right to the legs. That's just a day ruiner right there. So lots of rough stuff to deal with. These two are close brawlers, except that this one's got a PPC, but really it's designed to kick people. These two are snipers, and these guys will just kind of fuck with us. So we really need to find good cover, hide behind it, and hunker down for the 7 turns that it's going to take for reinforcements to come in, and then 2 more turns for our actual tonnage reinforcements. Let's get on the ground and deal with that situation. Pretty widespread of deployment. We rolled pretty good on some, pretty bad on others. What do you got for me, map? Okay, dokay. Well, it's an urban light, so that's hardly surprising. They're deploying towards the middle, and that's not great, because we do not have a lot of the cover I was hoping for here. And there's lots of shit in the way to sort of fuck with my ability to maneuver. For a map in which we're kind of planning on holding out and you know, trying to keep the enemy at bay, this isn't a great situation. I'm not going to lie. We've got a little bit of cover that we can rely on here, but nothing that's a line of sight blocker, just something that makes stuff harder to shoot. We honestly might be in a position where what we kind of need to do is scoot as fast as humanly possible up to this area and just kind of try to take cover in here. Alternatively, we can just sort of cluster everything together and hope that, like last time, we can spook the AI into not advancing onto us too heavily, because all of our weapons are overlapping the same zone. In either case, I think it's going to be better to kind of air over on this side, and so that's where I'm going to initially deploy Sassy. I'm going to put her right here, because if I do decide to go for the dash across, she's one of the ones that has jump jets who can use those to essentially bypass all of this rubble. Um, and maybe just kind of put her in a back corner so we can maximize engagement time. Okay, they are, yep, Stinger, Archer back here, Warhammer and Orion up there. That Warhammer already probably has beads on our position. The Hermes is in a lot of trouble because he's a light mech, and if they start targeting him, it's going to be a very bad situation. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more it seems like my only real option is to try to push up into this sort of heavier cover into the city where I can sort of bamboozle the enemy and try to avoid engagement. Even though that involves engaging with him, we just do not have enough cover out here. And there's too much stuff in the way so that we can't even move fast to avoid shots. So kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do with him is sort of put him in a position where he can go up this line. On the other hand, he's an excellent pilot. If anyone can get through that debris field, it's him. But yeah, I think put him in this position so that he can just, at the very least, kind of run around fast and hopefully avoid getting shot that way. All of the enemies were if I remember correctly, all of these guys were like 4 gunnery. Nothing exciting, but nothing terrible. The the pilot of the Banshee was a pretty bad shot, as I recall, though. So that's at least something going in our favor. But he was just as good as a normal pilot, which means his kicks are just as normal. Let's see. We have to deploy again. The Wasp. Wasp is in really the same bad position that the Hermes is. These two are the reason I'm going to have to try to take this cover over here. Shadowhawk. Shadowhawk also has jump jets, but its jump jets aren't as good. It would kind of be stranded, going real slow if I tried to jump jet over that stuff. So instead, I'm going to try to rely on its run speed over here. Now, at the very least, Dizzy is allowing us to see where all the enemies are going to move. But speaking of moves, so my Trebuchet needs to be more over here so that he can go through here. He also doesn't have jump jets. And same for my Ostsal. So we're all kind of clustered up. That might scare the enemy. Okay, so that did scare the enemy a bit. They didn't push on us hard. This may actually work to my favor if the enemy is going to continue being a coward. The Warhammer is really my biggest problem here because although I can avoid some of his shots, like positions back here will be completely untargetable by his PPC. The Orion up here, his AC-10, I've got more shots that places that I can hide in. The Banshee here can't see me right now, so he won't be able to get his PPC on target. The Archer, on the other hand, well, we've got those same two areas over here that we can escape from. So what my movements this turn kind of need to be, if I can at all arrange it this way, is put the Wasp and the Hermes back in these two spots where they can't be targeted. They won't get off any good shots this turn. The Wasp won't get off any good shots any turn. But as long as we can just force the enemy to sort of hide over here out of our longer range, even though we're granting the enemy range advantage in so doing, we've got some slightly better cover with these trees. I don't know. Because the more I think about it, the more I start to worry that that's a situation that works for this turn. But long term, I'm just cornering myself. If I'm relying on the enemy just not pushing up on me, the enemy can then decide at any time to push up on me, and because I stuck myself in this corner, I'm fugged. I am fugged. A better option is really going to be to learn what these guys' long ranges are. So the medium is over here. That sucks. The long ranges are over here. Also sucks. But this Wasp does have jump jets, just not well, actually, particularly good ones. Yeah, I'm afraid what we're going to have to do. With the Wasp, we're going to run through the rubble. Now, when I say run through the rubble, what we're actually going to be doing is moving up through the rubble to the rubble area, and then on our next turn, we're going to jump jet over it and then keep moving. We're going to stay at their long range and move as fast as we can. Light rough doesn't bother us, our movement, I don't think. We'll have moved, let's see here. If we do like that even, it's going to get us even further. That will move us 7 hexes. That's hard to hit. It's at their long range, even harder to hit, and will get us into a position where we can jump the next turn and just try to get to this cover. I think that that's the plan I have to go with. Enemy Wasp is moving up to intercept, but I'm not particularly concerned about that. For my Shadowhawks, my Shadowhawk, Trebuchet, Ostsal, Wolverine, those are all much more heavily armed arm and armored mechs. They can take shots from that Warhammer or Orion. So they're going to be pushing up through this zone. That'll be in the enemy's medium range, but we can deal with that a lot better than the Wasp or the Hermes can. So we're just going to try to attract fire onto ourselves by this method. The Hermes, it doesn't have jump jets, but Sergeant Numair Saeed Dizzy is an excellent pilot. He should be able to stomp through this rubble with a minimum of trouble. And that also keeps him at long range. And now I'm kind of regretting how I put my Wolverine in this position, because unfortunately that's going to put her closer to the back, but what can you do? So no shots from the Wasp. That wasn't likely to do anything anyway. I'll twist this way just for show. My Shadowhawk does have some good shots. It's a question of where we can put them. Honestly, so a quick thing I want to review. The Warhammer is pretty heavily armored, but not as heavily armored as the Orion. Putting shots on the Warhammer now might soften it up a bit so that we can start engaging it in earnest in the future. So that's probably our initial focus fire target. We dump as many shots as we can onto this Warhammer, even though the Orion would be a slightly easier shot. He didn't move as much. Well, shots that hit are better than shots that don't, and that is a seriously significant difference in ability to hit. Nah, since this guy is going to need a lot more work to chew through it. I'm justifying this in a different way. This guy is going to need a lot more work to ultimately chew through his armor. So instead, we're going to focus fire on this Orion. Try to put a lot of shots on him and see if we can't bury him early. LRM-15's going out, as usual. The Ostsal has got just at the tip of medium range for your large lasers. Excellent work. Give me damage high to low so that I can just go fire your large. The Hermes actually should be able to get a bead on that guy with its 2 large lasers. Now, we can't fire both of those large lasers, just one of them, but because we need to keep our heat normalized. And lastly, Sassy and her Wolverine can only get her large laser on target, and it's not a great shot, but we've got the heat to do it anyway, so... Alright, let's see how this turns out for us. The Orion fired, needed a hard shot and missed. Good. The Urban Mech fired, needed a slightly less hard shot, but missed. I mean, looking at all of this, the only person who landed a hit was Dizzy, because he's a cracked damn shot, and he did a zap on the Orion's right arm and stripped off some of its armor. Excellent work. I'll accept a turn of no hits on anyone, especially because I actually did get a hit. So, proud of that. Alright, we're neutral heat on everyone except for the Trebuchet and the Ostsal. So we won't be able to keep up that pace of fire. Now, once again, excellent work, Dizzy, keeping us ahead of the enemy. Let's see how hard they're going to push. Okay, they are moving to intercept us now. They are... this is what I was talking about. If we had just kind of hid back there, they would now be advancing hard on us. Instead, we are going to be taking measures to put us into a position where we will still be at least their medium range and moving fast. Especially with these light mechs. I'm going to kind of twist this way so that there's less chance of getting back shots. My Wolverine just kind of needs to keep sprinting. Speed is going to be our greatest ally here. And because of the position of this guy and from this hex, yeah, still not looking at back shots, so that's acceptable. Here, we're probably going to have to sacrifice a point of movement in order to turn to a position where we won't have to deal with back shots. The Hermes is just going to be rushing through that rubble. I have faith in his ability to get through it because it's going to be in a 3 and a 3. Go, man, go. Ah, excellent work. Excellent damn work. Trebuchet is in a similar position as the Ostsal. It's just going to have to sacrifice a little bit of movement in order to turn. We will interestingly be in a good position where our medium lasers against this archer is going to be a good shot. We might be in generally a good position where the thing that we want to wail on is this archer. That said, we might be in a good position to wail on this commando too. We'll just have to kind of figure that out after all movement is done. And then here, because of this, do I need to sacrifice with you? I don't think so, because the only thing that would really realistically... Well, okay, no, because of this, yeah, we do. It's not great, but we do. Just to try to keep shots on your side instead of going into your rear. Yep, once again, well, he cut it kind of fucking close. Wake up, Dizzy. But he did manage to get through. The Wasp actually has shots, and if we've got shots, we gotta take them. So what's my target? This archer made itself an excellent target against a lot of my guys. Um, the Hermes should be able to land shots on it. The commando is also in the middle of most of my guys, but it moved a little faster, is a little harder to target. For example, our wasp doesn't have a chance of hitting it. Granted, our wasp doesn't have a chance of hitting much, but if we could knock the commando out, but if we knock out that archer fast, or at least put significant damage on it, we should be able to significantly reduce a fair amount of the enemy's ability to punch at us. So that, I think, is going to be my target. Give me damage, high to low, and we'll start with a medium laser and an SRM2. Neither of those will hit, but, we're just putting as much fire downrange as we can. For specifically the Wolverine, unfortunately we have not great shots on the Archer because we're just at medium range, or just at medium range with my large, and at medium range for my mediums. But then again, nothing else is at medium range for my other stuff also. And I don't exactly want to split my fire. So, arranging from damage high to low, probably the best thing to do is, even though they're not great shots, the shots that I would be taking on any of these guys aren't significantly better in most cases. So we'll wing the large laser, a medium laser, and an SRM6, and we'll see what happens. And that'll put me at heat 3, but I should still be able to tolerate heat 3. The Ostsol is going to continue building up heat badly, because, let's see here, we'll end this turn at 4 heat, but that's fine, we can manage that. Alternatively, we could trim back a little bit. We would go back to 2 heat if we just fired a large laser and 2 mediums, and that would potentially do more damage if all of them land. We're in the stripping phase, but you know what? Yeah, since I'm probably going to need a heat bank pretty badly, that's how I'm going to run things. We're going to fire a large laser and 2 mediums, and that'll just put us 2 over heat. The Hermes has to twist, and we'll put a large laser on that archer. Pew. The Trebuchet, its LRM-15s are in a bad position, but it's got medium lasers on target, and if we fire all 3, we'll only be 3 over, so that should be fine. Pew, pew, pew. 7s to hit. My Shadowhawk is actually at excellent range for its PPC against that archer. Pew. And LRM-5, not great, but hey, nothing else is better, so shoo. So, Urban Mech misses. Oh shit, Archer taking LRM shots at my Wasp. One of them hits, and we have, so hit on the right arm, takes me into internal structure. That Wasp is just so damn lightly armored, it's just, I'm starting to wish I hadn't bothered fielding it, but I didn't expect to run into this much contact, you know? Yeah, well, I guess I really should have. I did put a heavy lance out there and was saying, hey, I can take on other heavy lances, but a heavy and reinforced by a light. Enemy Orion lands its AC-10 on my Shadowhawk, takes 10 damage to the left torso. We can't take another one of those, but, medium laser to center torso. We can take a couple more of those. SRM-4 pops around, so they're landing shots. My enemy commando is landing shots on my Shadowhawk. Looks like they decided to focus on my Shadowhawk. That's not great because it's not the most heavily armored of my mechs. Their Wasp also lands an unlikely. Now, one thing I do have to point out about all of these shots they're hitting. This is a 10. Hang on. Salt engaged. This is a 10. It's a 16% chance to hit a 10. They've hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 10s. That's a That's a stroke of luck. There's really no other way to put that. Just look, because that's like, 16% out of uh, all of those shots that they took. Way fewer of those should have hit. But that's BattleTech. And so unfortunately my Shadowhawk has been kind of shredded by a lot of fire that hit on unlikely rolls. That I'm not happy about. Enemy Stinger at least missed. Our friendly Wasp unfortunately missed both its shots, but we knew it wasn't going to hit. Large laser on the Archer does a little bit of initial stripping. My Ostsal lands. Now see, the six is a 72% chance to hit. So like out of 3 shots, I'd expect 2 of them to hit. That didn't happen. Hermes lands its shot at least. Trebuchet, this is 7 is a 40%, like a 58% chance to hit. So out of 3 shots, I'd expect 1.5 to hit. That didn't happen. Shadowhawk 7. So this is not a great turn for us in terms of statistics. We did at least manage to keep our Shadowhawk on its feet, and they kept their Archer on theirs. But I won't lie, I'm a little upset at you guys. You need to roll better than that if you want to live through this, because we're on round 2. We're going into round 3, and you got 4 more rounds before reinforcements show up. So if you really want to cut through on this, you're gonna have to buck up, guys. So we're into a bit of heat tax across the board. That Archer has really overheated itself, though. Once again, we do get to see all of the enemy's movements, and I think I know what they are. Yep, they're trying to catch us. That said, with my speed, rather than hiding around here, if I could hide up in these woods, since they kind of maneuvered into these rubble fields and would then have to kind of push through these woods and whatnot, a better option for getting away from these guys might be just kind of to engage in a headlong sprint up into, for example, for the Ostsal, up into this tree cover should provide significant penalties for them to shoot at it. Now that said, the big thing I need to get into tree cover is the Shadowhawk. So it's got movement 8. Turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, that'll at least get you onto the trees. Is there another place that I could put the Shadowhawk? Turn 1, 2, 3, 4, turn 5, 6, 7. Wouldn't quite work. Shadowhawk only has jump jets 3, so it can't jump anywhere safe. And that position wouldn't exactly not be seen anyway. I'd have to get like right there. Could get right there with the Ostsal, but the Ostsal I kind of want to be able. I want the Ostsal to be taking fire a little bit because it's not the most heavily armored, but it's pretty good. So maybe what I'll do, I'll move into this position, take a little bit of advantage of tree cover. The Trebuchet, I want to just kind of get the fuck out of here. That will provide it cover from everything except the Orion. Wasp. The Wasp I need to just keep fucking running as fast as it can. I could say please try to get through this rubble. Or I can just kind of go here, turn like this, and pretty much cross my fingers because, let's see here, this is 6 hexes away. The other move you could take, 7 hexes. 7 hexes I believe is the golden number, so let's take this move instead. Hermes, you're in pretty much the same position. Wolverine, Wolverine, I kind of want being able to take some hits, so unfortunately you are going to be bait. You will not move as far, but you will turn to face the enemy so that you can take some shots. Shadowhawk, I need you to just kind of flee up into this position. So, who's my primary for this round? The closest, easiest, all of these guys moved a bunch, and I ran on all of my units. So +4, that's the number I'm going to be looking at for pretty much everyone. This Stinger is just as close as this Archer. This Archer we did a little bit of stripping on, but this Stinger we could probably knock out if we got lucky and landed shots. So that's where I think I'm going to focus my fire this turn. We'll put out 2 large lasers. That'll put me 4 over, but I can recover from that. My Trebuchet might be in trouble in landing shots. It is, unfortunately. Because of cover, it's not going to have good shots on anyone. But it is a little bit heat taxed right now anyway. We'll take an unlikely LRM-15 shot against this Orion, just to try to dish out a little bit of extra softening up. But otherwise, this is a heat eco round for him. My Wasp can take shots at this same guy, and since you can take shots, you will take shots. Not with her leg-mounted SRM though. Seriously, why would you do that? Why do you keep doing that? The Hermes can get shots on this bad shots on the Stinger, but his shots aren't better on anyone else, so laser downrange. The Wolverine is pretty much in the same boat as it was last time in terms of the range of its weapons, medium on everything. So let's see here. We're a 5 over, 11. We'll do, instead of the large laser, just a medium and SRM6, and that'll put you 1 over. And then next turn you'll kind of be jump jetting into safety, hopefully. And lastly, my Shadowhawk. I gave more thought to you running than to you actually being able to put shots on target, unfortunately, so that's kind of where you're stuck this turn. So Warhammer is taking shots at my Wolverine like I wanted. It netted a 12. That's a 2.78% chance shot and lands 3 missiles. But, you know, that's okay. Look at all these 12s. I'm glad to see these 12s because they're all going on my Wolverine and they are all missing. Miss, miss. 10 missing. 12s miss, 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 miss. Miss, miss. Fucking Archer is going to be the bane of my existence because he slammed another LRM-20 into me and all 20 of the missiles hit. Jesus Christ. That's 20 points of damage spread all over my Wolverine. She's a good pilot. She can make that pilot check, but fug. Stinger misses. Our Ostsal unfortunately misses, taking shots back. Our Trebuchet misses, but we didn't expect him to hit. Wasp misses, didn't expect her to hit. Yeah, just a lot of our shots weren't great. We did manage to land a shot on that Stinger, on its left leg and right leg, stripping off all the armor, so it's exposed. Good piloting, so you have not fallen over. And now, disengage. Get away. Get the hell away from them. We have actually breached past them. So show me what your moves are. Yeah, they're following up on us. A lot of them are essentially positioning themselves so that they would be able to see us if we just ran straight through here. But if we kind of air to here, this tree cover will keep us mostly protected. So what we kind of need to do is just sort of air in this direction. Over here, I'm still going to be seen by the Orion and the Wasp, but the Orion and the Wasp have very short-range weaponry. So up here, we're actually going to be in good position to kind of just get up. In fact, maybe even just to keep the chase going. Get kind of... Let me think about what my long-term strat is here. Long-term strat. We're currently on this turn, which is turn 4? Turn 4. In 3 turns, air support comes in. If the enemy keeps clustering up like this, air support is going to rip them apart. It's going to be brutal. But then 2 turns after that, my medium lance comes in. If my medium lance is just flapping in the breeze, they're not going to be able to do a hell. They're going to get crushed by the full weight of these guys if I haven't done enough to actually zot them down. What I may need to actually do is use this as cover by doing kind of a merry-go-round. Just sort of, prefer not that, because that archer can see me, and he has been overly accurate. But there, just sort of running around the city, using it as a way to kind of keep the enemy line of sights blocked and bottle them in. Because if I can keep them bottled, air support's gonna fuck them up. So that's our plan. Right this turn, all of our lighter elements are going to try to disengage. Our Shadowhawk, because it's badly injured, is going to actually, one step back. Archer can see you. Fuck that noise. Is going to disengage. My Ostsal, however, he won't be able to engage at that range. If I put him like right here, and then turn him around, looking from this position, he will be able to see that wasp. So that's what I'll do. Likewise, you, since you're just in a bad position in general, I was going to jump jet you into safety. And my trebuchet, from here, you will have just as much range on that archer as the archer has on you, but I really want you to move faster. So if you're like this, and then you turn like that, you should be able to also see that wasp. You won't have great shots, but you can see it. So, didn't expect any shots from my wasp, that's fine. My Hermes, can't quite get shots on that Orion, but that's fine, didn't really expect it to. Shadowhawk, can't get shots, wasn't expecting it to. The Ostsal, those are bad shots, but you're kind of a crack shot. Now, unfortunately, we need to take a heat eco round, because otherwise we're pushing up into territory that I really don't want to be in while I'm on the run. So, only one shot downrange this turn. You can't see anything, that was preordained. Long range shots, you actually can't hit anything. Zap and miss, but mostly we were just trying to get disengaged from the enemy this turn. Now, we've broken loss with them, we've broken line of sight with them. We'll see how the bot responds to that, whether it's going to keep trying to race around to regain line of sight, or if it's going to try to take the shorter route to push through the city. Let's see how the bot responds. Okay, looks like the bot is going to continue pushing up into this tree cover. That actually works for me because that means that it might expose a single mech for me to exploit. So let me look at what my options are going to be here. From the Ostsal's position, he can get shots on this Orion, and he is largely heat neutral this turn. If we sort of spin around and stick to this Maginot line here, or even here, we cut off half of the enemy's fire support, expose ourselves to the Wasp and the Stinger, and the Archer and the Orion, but we can kind of dictate the terms of this combat in that case. What's your large laser range tell you about doing like this? That, if you did like that, you would be in medium range of all of these and could pick any of them. In particular, you would potentially have a straight shot at that Stinger or at that Orion. I think that this is the plan I'm going to take for this turn, since they kind of butted up against here. We'll move into these hexes so that we can take shots at the Stinger, the Orion, and then maybe the Archer and the Wasp. They'll be able to take shots back, but most of their stuff is shorter range. The only thing that's got a long range punch is that Archer. He's been pretty accurate so far, but as long as we keep moving quick, he only can land so many of those shots. So that means that we can kind of just back up. Damn it, I keep clicking the wrong hex. Back up. And you won't be able to get your short range, but your long range is... Unfortunately, that's only 2 hexes movement from my current position, which isn't great. This is 3 hexes. That's at least a slight penalty. But, hang on. Okay, no, we're good. It's just because of that thing. Yeah, that hex can be seen by all of them, but this hex can only be seen by these guys, so... The Trebuchet... He's going to be able to just see the Stinger and the Orion. And from that position, it's going to be mediums. I could try to put him one closer, but that's only would help if you could see the Wasp. Which you could if I did like this, but... Well, that would get him solid shots on the Archer, and the Archer would have less solid shots on him. Yeah, let's missile fight and see who is the better missileer. The Wasp I just kind of want to keep disengaged, and in fact... this bit me last time, but no enemy reinforcements are coming this time. The Wasp is too lightly armored to engage. I am going to go ahead and put Katie Tripp into a position that was doomed the last time I tried this, but now is actually a good idea. She is actually going to be the person who's going to run our recon. So that in a worst case scenario, we can actually just evacuate if this all goes pear-shaped. The Hermes has to spend a lot of movement on repositioning around. And so that's not a great idea. This is a slightly better one. It does put that, well, this would be the best one to get the Orion in its large laser range, or the Stinger. The Shadowhawk has that great range PPC. That's not as fast as I'd like it to go, though. Here's where I test something, just to make sure that I've been doing it right. Okay, it does count the number of hexes you move, not just your distance from your previous hex. So, that's good. So who's my target? I've got eyes on this Orion, and he did not move very much, so he would be a good one to take lots of shots on for hitting. This Stinger is moved a bit more, harder to hit, but he's a good one to take shots on for terms of putting a mech down. Because he's lightly armored, and we already stripped all the armor off 2 of his spots. A good shot on his, on either of his legs, with my large lasers, with medium lasers, with hell, anything I can fire at this range, will likely put him on the ground. Eliminating an enemy mech, especially a maneuverable one, is probably going to be better than doing some extra stripping on an existing one. So this Stinger, I think, is going to be the focus of our fire for this turn. Even though we don't have great shots on him, if any of those shots land on his legs, they're going to do damage, and if any of them land in general, it's going to put him in a world of hurt, just because he's a bucket. He's got so little to depend on anyway. So we're taking bad shots, and if we're taking bad shots, we may as well take, although that said, the medium laser, yeah, way worse shot. So what you take is a large laser and a medium laser, and why not a medium laser? Put us 2 overheat. No, fuck it. It's a 12. It's not worth 2. It's not worth 2 overheat. We'll take the one that we're guaranteed, that we get for free, but we're not going to push it into heat for a 12. That's just not wise. Over here, we could get 11s on that guy, but instead we're taking the 9 on doing a missile fight. And so LRM 15 away. The Wasp is disengaged. The Hermes is going to... Well, the Hermes has a special problem, because he lands pretty... No, F it. All shots on that target. Shadowhawk. Yep, just make it happen. Foosh. Alright. Archer misses. Excellent. So we're already up on the LRM fight because it missed its LRM 20s at me. Stinger misses, Wasp misses, and the Orion, unfortunately, does manage to slap me with a medium laser on that, a 10 again, but it didn't land any of its super scary damage, so it's nothing we can't take. Our fire back, we land a large laser on the Stinger's left arm, which destroys that left arm and puts extra damage on its left torso. A medium laser also gets a very unlikely hit on its center torso, reducing it to very little remaining armor. We win the LRM fight, stripping a little extra damage off its arm and a bit of damage off of its leg, and miss all of our other shots. So we didn't get any shots on that Stinger, but we did knock out one of its weapons that may proc it to run. I think it's got an armor in its weapon in its left arm. It may not. I can't remember. But point is, we put some damage on it. We've taken out one of its arms, and that means definitely if we take out one of its legs, it's an abandoned mech. So what's your move from here? This is round 6. In one turn, our Air Force comes in. Now, the enemy did take advantage of the position that we took this turn and are now kind of flanking around to say, fuck that forest. But that's where we can hopefully disengage again. Yup, looks like we will be able to successfully disengage with the Hermes. The Ostsal. Now, the Ostsal maybe can seek out a position where it'll be seen by the Banshee. But will that put him in a position where he can't run successfully next turn? Let me think about that for a moment. Because I could get in a position to be just seen by the Banshee, who is a bad shot, and the Urban Mech, who I could laser at. But I think instead I'm going to opt for breaking line of sight as totally as I can, and err on the side of we'll loop around here in order to deal with to not be totally in the enemy's range. Over here, that breaks line of sight. Over here, you're breaking line of sight by going here and starting to gather information. You will begin information gathering one turn from now. Over here, we can't break line of sight this way. We might be able to break it by jump jetting here. Yes. And the Shadowhawk can break line of sight as well. No shots this turn. This turn is entirely us breaking line of sight so that the enemy is still kind of stuck back here. Okay, I guess they can see through all of those woods. I hope that they don't take any shots. I didn't really expect that. Ah, yeah. No shots were taken on any side because we went straight to the physical stage where we can punch a building, and we're not going to, for fuck's sake. Everyone resets their heat because no one took shots this turn. But now. Now, because of the way the enemy is deployed, if I do straight on like this, I'm probably not going to be able to hit as much. So I kind of want to come in from an angle. So what I'm going to do, but they actually might just kind of line up like this too. So what I'm going to do, just to kind of hedge my bets, I'm going to put my Hellcat, the faster one, here. And he's going to take any opportunity available to kind of get an angle shot on them. And I'm going to put my Chippewa here, who will just be following straight up the center. Okay, the Warhammer is the only thing that we haven't seen the moves for yet, but we do know that they are kind of clustering around this woods. We could try to then juke them out on an engagement again, sort of moving around here in order to get eyes on just the Commando Urban Mech and this Orion. The Orion we would have really bad shots on, though. And then they would just kind of zoom over this way. But, so one thing they did do right now that I am super a fan of is that they are clustered up. They are really clustered up. So that is making me excited. In fact, all of their light mechs, all of their light mechs are on a straight shot. This bombing run, oh, I'm anticipating it. Okay, but the right in here, right now, I can kind of juke my Hermes around to just get some shots on that Commando. Could I juke it to get some shots on a Stinger? Yes. But also I would be in Orion range. Don't want to mess around, play around with that AC-10 unless I'm moving at a pretty fast clip. If I move out like this, the important big thing, the big, very many kill important move, is to make sure that I've got enough movement left to sort of be erring on the side of turn this way. To be erring on the side of, in a future turn, I can disengage to the side again. Here, I can see a Commando and take shots at the Commando from long range with a large laser. Sounds good. I'm pretty sure, just making sure. Okay, Hellcat movement. So, planes work differently. Planes, it's assumed pretty much that my plane was coasting into position and is starting at 0 acceleration right now when it arrives on the map. It's at elevation 5. Don't sweat what that means specifically too much. What I can set how much we want to accelerate by at the start of the turn. Each point of plane movement is worth 16 tiles of map movement. So what I really need to know is what is my movement like this that would allow me to do a bombing run against all of these chumperoonies and then disengage. So pretty much what I want to do is have a straight shot bombing run like this, then turn, then just sort of be up here at this side of the map. 16, 32 here is 2 movement. And then I should be able to move enough, so if I move 3, okay, I'm going to err on the side of accelerating 3. 3 is my safe thrust, so, I'm not going into the danger zone to do that. I'm doing a bombing run here. The little number up here, the red and then yellow and then so on number, indicates how many hexes I need to move before I take a impossible, an difficult but okay, or a completely easy turn. So after I do my bombing run here, I turn, move, ideally until I can get green again. Well, nope, can't get a green one again. So, oh, sorry. Do, 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 do. Do like this until I can get a yellow. In fact, let's just go straight when I've got a yellow. Turn. Well, I guess it's going to make me move at least 10. Turn. Why is it blanking out on me? Oh, right. You can only make one of these hard ones. Okay. Well, alternative. If I just accelerate twice, you know that thing where I said, I hope I'm not embarrassing myself? I missed. Accelerate twice. Okay, that's valid. Bombing run complete. Then disengage like that. We'll still be close to the enemy, but we'll have been going really fast and hopefully they can't take good shots at me. Unfortunately, going any faster is going to overshoot, and I won't be able to conduct the run. And I really, absolutely want this delicious run right here. So that's our move. This is our flight path. Over here, my Shadowhawk needs to try to get an engagement like the Hermes did. If I sort of just curve around like this, I can get either an engagement on that Stinger or that Commando. And so that works for me, and nothing else can see me. So that works for me. Although, what's my worst case scenario? 1, 2, 3. My worst case scenario on the next turn is 1, 2, move like this. Yeah, that should be safe. My Ostsol can move like that and get an engagement on the Stinger. It'll also be seen by the Archer, but that's okay. He can take a punishment from the Archer. My Chippewa has only a safe thrust of 2. We know that we're pretty much going to need that. I kind of just want her to go straight up the middle here and conduct a bombing run pretty much starting from back here and all the way up through here, which will put a little bit of extra damage on the on this wasp and also will hit these heavy mechs. And then just kind of fly away. Although, because she just pretty much did a straight shot, I might be able to keep her on the map if I just turn here. And then on a future turn, knock her speed down so that she can make a tighter turn to come around for another bombing run, since she is bearing more bombs than the other guy. So, off you go. I need to learn the names of these guys. Dynamite. Did I not give you? Damn. This guy has just kind of been flying all kinds of under my radar. I am sorry, I didn't even give him a nickname. Jesus. I just get kit. So, caught up on the fact that his name is Hung Huang, and all I can think of is Dr. Tran. Anyway, Trebuchet needs to find an engagement. May find it in an unusual fashion. Don't really want him to tangle with the Orion. Would prefer for him to get a shot on the Stinger, if possible. He could like this. That means that he's going to be an easy target. Oh, but he'd be an easy target there for the Arch. No, not from this hex. From this hex, he can just be seen by a Commando and a Stinger. And from this hex, he can see the Stinger, and the Stinger would be in his medium, but don't think we'll get much better than that. So, who am I moving? Oh, right. You can actually be seen from that position. I did not want that. You will uh you have to stand still to do scouting, but I absolutely positively do not want there to be any chance that she can be seen. Embed yourself in these trees. You'll start your scanning next turn. The Wolverine, pretty much in a position to torso twist and shoot at the Stinger and not get hit by anyone else. So, over here, we were taking some shots at the Commando. Pew. Ah, now here's where things get fun. Okay, so what we have is a bunch of altitude bombs. We want to start a bombing run here, all the way to here. We have a total of, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 altitude bombs. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes of actual mechs of it. So actually, what I'll want to do... Actually, I could have sworn this guy had 12. Where do I double check that? Well, it says he's got 10. And who am I to doubt it? So, actually, I'm going to try it my way first. And, well, even if he had 12, it would just be, this one would only hit this one. But that's the one I kind of would want it on. So either way, we'll start here, our bombing run on this Stinger. You do that by targeting with bomb, and then firing. You can fire up to 2 bombs per hex targeted. Then we target the next one for a bombing. Hang on, let me... Just gonna back up a little bit, make sure I do this right. Target for bomb. Fire bomb. Launch 2 bombs. 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 Target for bomb. Fire. Launch 2 bombs. Launch 2 bombs. And then I'm going to see if I've got enough so that I can fire 2 more to sort of put some potential more cluster damage onto this Orion. Target for bomb. Fire bomb. And I guess, yeah, now, either I don't understand how this works, or this is totally how it works. And I wonder if I can just kind of go back here and also say target for bomb, fire. Yeah, okay, no. That is the 12 that I had. Those are the 12 bombs that I had. So that's going to fire all 12 of my bombs. After this, Chief Petty Officer Hung Huang will fly off the map, and I'll maybe bring him around for another flyover. If we need his zap guns, we can employ them. Otherwise, we can just sort of, start him on one edge of the map and then fly him over to the other and get rid of him again. But he's going to be going on a wide return. His is a more lightly armored. His is a more lightly armored plane, and so I don't want to expose it to fire as much. So there's the bomb run. Over here, we were putting more hurt on this Stinger because, you know, we're just going for unlikely shots in order to say if any of those shots land, they're effective. Over here, we were putting shots on the Stinger. Over here, our bombing run would begin back here. It's going to be less effective since it's not right on target, but it'll spread some damage onto this Banshee, and the real main course will be the bombs that hit around here. So once again, we target for bomb, we fire bomb, and I'm just going to go ahead and douse down 2, even though they aren't going to be... Well, she's going to come around for another run. Let's instead just fire 1 bomb here, but once we get to this point, we'll fire 2 bombs, then we'll fire 2 bombs, then we'll fire 2 bombs, and then at this very edge, we'll fire 1 more bomb just to keep things even. So she starts light, heavy saturation here, then light at the end. That fires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of her 12. So she's got enough left for another smaller bombing run. And then she can either disengage or further engage with her weapons as is appropriate. Over here, we were putting more shots on that Stinger. We could put medium laser shots on, but that's stupid. We're putting LRM-15s on him. The Wasp has no targets. Can still be seen. I hate that, but hopefully those things can't hit her. Wolverine is apparently firing anyway. I wanted you to first twist, because you can twist a shitload. Put large laser, medium laser on that Stinger. Let's see what happens. Commando firing at my Trebuchet. Oh, shots are going on my Hellcat. But fire my Trebuchet. The only things that should be able to hit my Hellcat are the longest range of weapons, so like LRM-20s. And it looks like PPCs also. And an AC-5. But no medium lasers, none of that garbage. Oh, an AC-10 too. I may want to just... we got pretty close to taking some damage several times. In fact... Ooh, make a good pilot roll. Possibly out of control. We'll make a roll for that at the end of this turn, because that got over his damage threshold. That PPC from that Warhammer hit it right on the nose. Come on, Hung Huang. I know I didn't pay much attention to you, but that doesn't mean I want you to, you know, get an automatic burial here. But let's see how Hell Huang did. Nails the terrain, blows off the right leg on that Stinger that we were picking on, so that thing's already taken care of. That thing is just kind of going to get mulched. Does some extra damage to the urban mech. Bombs that scatter still have a chance of, you know, putting their cluster damage on the hexes that they're around. Let's see. Overall, we do some more damage to that urban mech, some more damage to that Stinger, some damage to that Commando, some more damage to the Commando, a little damage to the Archer, urban mech, Wasp. Wasp is getting, let's see here. The Stinger is the first one, the one we were picking on. Wasp also gets its into its left arm. It's damaged. Orion takes some damage. Archer takes some damage on its rear, actually. Commando takes some damage. Warhammer, uh, I don't destroy the Warhammer Searchlight. Oh, boo-hoo. Orion, stripped of some armor, destroy the Warhammer Searchlight. Fuck you. And Wasp deals into its right torso rear, destroying a heatsink. Shadowhawk PPCs. Oathsall shoots into the right torso of that Stinger. That Stinger's kind of fugged, but I haven't seen it blow up yet. Although I do think that I saw its leg get blown off, so it's probably down on the ground. Chippewa hits, let's see here. Strikes a wasp with its scattered bomb. Wow, that must have scattered a shitload. If it managed to hit a wasp, but okay. Destroyed the wasp's left arm. Did some additional damage to the Orion. Did some additional damage to the Archer. The Archer doesn't have much damage left on its rear because it kind of took a lot of blowing up bombs back there. Destroyed the left leg on a wasp, so that's another light mech down. Commando is taking internal structure on its torso. Threatened a through armor critical on a Banshee. And then just pounding Wasp. Orion takes more damage. Archer takes more damage. Commando takes more damage. Warhammer takes more damage. Just, this is what I was looking forward to. Just this. Doom, 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 doom. Wasp into internal structure. Doom, 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 doom. Doom. Archer, taking some taking a shot to the head. Doom, doom, doom. Into the internal structure on a wall. Doom, doom, doom. Orion taking some more damage. Doom, doom, doom. And then the Wolverine blows the right arm off of destroys the right section of that Stinger that's probably already been pounded into garbage. So the Orion took more than 20 damage, managed to stay on his feet. The Warhammer took more than 20 damage and fell. The Archer took more than 20 damage and fell. The Commando took more than 20 damage and succeeded. The Stinger is missing a leg and automatically falls. The Wasp is missing a leg and automatically falls. Now, let's check for our out of control. Who rolled close, but managed to keep control of his craft. He took a critical hit and took 10 damage, but he's got his hands on the joystick, and oh wait, no, he rolled an 11, but then he rolled a 4, got really close, but he's got it. He's got control of his bird. Good job, Hung Huang. Let's see how we do after this. Okay. Alright, so the bombing run, of course, didn't do much extremely devastating damage to the heavies, although that Archer is kind of fugged. In fact, that Archer tried to stand up and knocked himself out, so that bombing run did also take out a heavy mech. Kind of. He's just unconscious right now, but that is going to fuck with him significantly. However, it stripped a lot of damage on this Warhammer. It stripped a lot of its body armor. A lot of its sections are down to 7s or 8s, especially on its left side. And so large lasers on those locations can potentially get into criticals. Its right arm, ironically, because its right arm was the side that was facing the explosions coming in, is more or less unscathed, but this thing took some significant damage. The Orion weathered that bombing run pretty well. It's a very heavily armored mech, so that's not surprising, but it did help weaken the armor significantly. The Archer fell over on his head and is nearly headless. If we can get someone with high accuracy to get good shots on that, we could maybe head cap that and make sure that it came home with us. But I don't think I should. Well, maybe I should press on that. We'll take a look. Beneath him, that wasp lost lost one of its legs and had to be abandoned. The stinger, the same. This commando is all kinds of fucked up. A solid large laser pretty much anywhere except its left leg will be into internals. A PPC shot on lots of places will destroy. And it's got an exposed rear, so that's funny. The Urban Mech kind of weathered this the best of everyone. Well, no, the one who weathered it best of everyone was the Banshee. But the Banshee wasn't really much on my bombing run. He was like right here, but that was about as... He pretty much only took side shots. The Hellcat is out, but the Chippewa still has a couple bombs left. So probably what I might be lining up for is trying to come back around maybe on this arc to give them a little bit more razzle-dazzle before going away. That said, one thing I definitely want to do is climb another altitude just to make sure that we're a little further away from all of the potential things that can hit us. That said, we now need to move our mechs. Right now, the enemy is down an Archer. Their Warhammer and their Orion, their big heavy hitters, are still in the action. But they're down 2 of their light mechs, and because of how these urban mechs are embedded, the urban mech and the commando, they aren't going to have great opportunities to unembed them. So one thing that might be a good idea is if we just kind of go full ham, rush up, especially with this Wolverine, to start taking some head cap shots on that Archer, see if we can't remove head and take it out, or worst case scenario, start taking some pot shots in the commando. This will put her kind of front and center, but front and center through a lot of cover against the Warhammer and the Banshee. But I think that that's acceptable. We can now start living a little dangerously, because that bombing run helped soften up the enemy's resistance significantly. My Trebuchet, I need to put shots from him. I'm honestly not sure on who. Well, honestly, the first thing I now want to target, because it just got so badly stripped, are either the Orion or the Warhammer. And to do that, I kind of just need to jump out of cover. Here would get me a shot on that Orion that at an excellent range, and would protect me from pretty much everything except the Orion and the Warhammer. Here would get me shots on that Warhammer with pretty much the same thing. Well, the Urban Mech could take a shot at me. The Warhammer is the more badly damaged of the two, and has more sensitive areas. I think if we can, we want to get as many people on that Warhammer as possible. Anyone else will put on the Orion. We are actually engaging this turn. We are making a date to actually put shots on the enemy. Can I get you one closer? I can if you kind of risk it. I don't want you to go out there. That's a bit too more than I'd like you to get exposed to. But right there is just fine, and that'll get you good shots on that Warhammer. We may... Yeah, you can do that. I believe in you. Yeah, look at that. We may go into heat debt. Now, the Hellcat's currently still at velocity 1, I believe. Yeah, you lose a velocity each turn in atmosphere. But that should give him enough to get the hell out of here. So pretty much what we're doing is we are moving him to the board edge and flying off. We want him to fly off the map, but tell him that he can return on a future turn. He'll do a big turnaround, And if we actually need his help knocking these guys out, he'll be available. The Wasp is sitting there and collecting data. That's one turn of data that we're collecting. The Chippewa is currently at 1 velocity, and that works just fine for me because I need her to sort of slow down, give me some good turns to come around on another bombing arc in a future turn. I don't think we'd be able to get a good bombing arc this turn, but next turn, although one other thing I do want her to do, since I'm not accelerating, I do want her to go up, gain some altitude, go up, and do this crazy lining up for a new bombing run thing. Up at altitude band 6, should be harder to hit. Oh shit. Didn't mean to park the Shadowhawk. That's a whoopsie on my part. You know, human element sometimes gets involved here. Well, there's no two ways about it. That's an oopsie boopsie. Let's try to get this Ostsal. In fact, can I get this Ostsal? No. If I get the Ostsal here, he's got good shots on the Orion. He can take shots on the Archer. Not as great shots on the Warhammer, which is what I want to target, but that's about as close as I can get him. So here's what our enemies did. The Stinger ejected. The pilot is safe, apparently. The Warhammer got up, and the Wasp ejected poorly, but is still alive. The Archer tried to get up and fell over on his head. His head had already taken some bomb damage, so it's into internal structure now. Needed a roll to stay unconscious, but succeeded. Then apparently took more damage because, okay, so you take damage from falling, and you take damage from head hit. So is now unconscious on a 7. That's pretty likely to wake back up, but will possibly be unconscious next turn. And the Hermes manages to get through the rubble, and my Hellcat flies off the map. So we were getting close for an engagement. I wanted to get medium lasers onto head. Not great shots. Of course, she's not Captain Kobe. However, in general, putting shots on this Archer will be a good idea. Now, is there something that's easier to target than the head that would possibly put this thing down? Not really, unfortunately. Its legs are still mostly armored. It's pretty much only knocked out on some pretty lucky, on a pretty, bad luck on its part. What I can do is put my faith in Sassy. She could alternatively help put some more shots on this Warhammer with her large laser. Or I can just kind of put my faith. A 8.3% chance for working on the head table is still kind of cranks out to a better shot than just hoping to get a headshot anyway. So 2 medium lasers on the head. Zap, zap. An SRM-6 can't be aimed, but hopefully a lot of those SRMs will hit, and one of them can also roll to land on the head. If one of them does, it's head capped, and we take it home. So that's what we're banking on. And since we're just looking at weight of fire to tell true, let's also take a large laser shot. That'll put me into 6 heat debt. That's not great, but it's survivable. Now over here, I wanted to put LRM-15s on that Warhammer, right on that Warhammer, downrange on that Warhammer, but that puts me 3 over. Do I want to go any more into debt to put some more shots elsewhere? Not really. I am fine with that. Over here, this Hermes was putting shots downrange on this Warhammer. That another large laser shot would put me 7 into heat debt. 7 is a -1 to movement point. Not great for a thing that relies on movement, but it's no further penalty past that. And since we have an excellent shot on this guy this turn, that's what I think we should take. Quick check otherwise. Yeah, no. Because of intervening terrain, this is going to be the shot to take. We'll take it. You are still collecting data. Over here, the Chippewa can't shoot anything. Nothing was on its... It has to pick stuff that was on its flight path. It won't be able to hit stuff with its SRM-6 now because it's too high. Its LRMs, I believe it would be able to if it was in the right position. But in general, nothing's on its flight path, so it's not going to be able to hit anyway. So, nothing there. Quick check, is this like... How do you do... Yeah, alright, don't worry about it. No, nothing to shoot at with right now. The Shadowhawk, unfortunately, I put into park. I feel kind of stupid about that, but it turns out that I get a good shot out of it anyway. I can take shots at this commando, and because of how fucked up it is, if one of those PPCs lands on the commando, it's going to be pretty badly fugged. Over here, we've got a 5 on this guy. A much more difficult shot because of intervening cover. And a 7s against this Warhammer. This Warhammer is where I wanted to focus fire, so that's really where I want to put shots right now. That's going to put me 4 over into heat debt. I could take some more shots at medium range. But if I take one more, I'm going to be at 7. 7 is minus to movement points, but not to shooting. I'm going to go ahead and take that just to try to dump as much fire as I can on this Warhammer this turn to try to take it the hell out. Let's see how that works. Enemy Commando manages to land a medium laser on my Wolverine. Banshee misses both of its shots. Orion misses with its AC-10, but lands both of its medium lasers onto my Hermes. That's not great. Hermes is a lightly armored mech. Lands its SRM-4, and unfortunately pops Dizzy in the head, but he remains conscious. The Warhammer is on target on my Hermes. Put some damage on the right torso. Unfortunately, the Hermes is going to have to kind of pull out. It took a little too much damage for my liking, but hopefully did a lot of damage in return. My Wolverine unfortunately missed both the head cap shots. Landed all 6 of its SRM-6s, though, which tossed some damage around, particularly one that's on its right arm. Trebuchet lands shots on the Warhammer. Its left torso is very exposed. Hopefully someone can follow that up. Hermes did land both of its shots on the Warhammer. Its left leg is exposed. Shadowhawk PPC misses, unfortunately, but the LRM-5 hits and is into internals on its left torso. That's exposed. Ostsal manages to hit that exposed left torso, dealing with the medium laser, dealing some internal structure but no crit. And both the Hermes and the Warhammer remain standing. So, you know, nothing incredibly significant, but we did ping a little damage off them, although they did put a little more damage on my Hermes than I would have liked. So, turn 9. Now, here comes reinforcements. Coming in on this board edge, we have Dagger, who is just kind of generally garbage, but I try not to hold it against her. Because she's not going to have great shots, I'm actually going to deploy her here, and she's just going to be kind of coming up this side. This group is going to be exposed to the enemy fire, but because we've got them in this nasty flank, that'll force them to kind of decide what's more important. Especially because very likely we'll still get to move all of our units before they get to move any of theirs. Centurion, slightly faster, gets to start a little further back because she'll be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, no, she's only got movement 6. I forgot that the Centurion is a downgraded mech. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would get stuck behind trees. What if instead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puts you up against the rubble? Alternatively, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would get you into the tree line. I'm gonna put you in the tree line and let Happy and her Crusader be the one standing out in the open. Seems fair. Crusader out in the open. Urban mech. I am so sorry, dude, that you are still in an urban mech, but you will kind of be pooting along behind us. That is just how things work when you live in an urban mech. I'm so very sorry. All right, so they are still focusing most of their guys up front, but they've kind of turned their Banshee to pay attention behind. That urban mech has rushed up for some reason. Don't really know what his game plan is there. Because what we could do is just sort of back up, and since they pointed all their guns this way, we could back up, smoke that fucking urban mech, and then just leave the rest of their guys for another turn. Since they pointed all their guns this way, the only people that will be able to engage this way is the Banshee, who's a bad shot, and potentially this Orion, who doesn't have great range on his weapons. And this guy's still immobile. And if I'm lucky, if I've been a very good boy this year, I may be able to get this Chippewa onto a bombing run like this. I don't know if I've been a good boy this year. We'll have to find out. So for right now, I think that the best thing to do, this urban mech has presented itself as a prize to us. It would be rude of us to ignore that. So if we just kind of turn, double check our PPC ranges, walk forward a little bit, the Banshee can get shots on us, but it's a bad shot. So if we just close in a little bit, so from there the Orion can see us. From here, the Orion can't. So if we just close up a little, we can get good PPCs on that urban mech. Over here, the plan is to rush forward. Yeah, rush forward. Whoosh. Rush forward. Whoosh. You are scouting for turn 2. Rush forward. Reposition. Can't reposition like that. Can you back up? If you throw it into reverse, turn here, and then keep throwing it into reverse. Yup, the Orion can see you, but no one else can. That said, thinking critically about this, the Ostsal is one of my best kickers. But it really just can't contend with that Orion at close range. Best to keep that Orion at arm's length, because at this distance, we're putting ourselves beyond his accurate range for most of his medium weapons. So we just kind of want to keep him at arm's length right now. Same for here. Just back up a little bit. In fact, if you back up, turn, back up, You can see the urban mech and the banshee, but that's it. The Chippewa. So currently at velocity 0, we can accelerate 1, and then see where that will get us. One wouldn't get us quite far enough. If we accelerate 2, okay, okay. We've got one of our hard turns, but a bombing run like this still is totally acceptable. So, what I'll want to do, because our safe thrust is now 4, we increase, bombing decreases our maneuverability and thus our safe thrust. Going faster increases it. We're going to want to go up, sorry, forgot I have to do that. Accelerate, accelerate, go up. Turn like this. Turn at that point. No, wait, hang on. I guess that's a little too dangerous. So instead, we will just accelerate twice, trust in our higher altitude that we were already at, turn here, go for a nice cruise, come up the side here, end about there. And that'll give me a good 3 space bombing run, maybe even 4. I don't remember how many bombs I have left. We were backing up. And by backing up like this, the Orion can see me, and so can the urban mech, but that's about it. At this 4 spot, I'm sweet spotted on the urban mech, so that sounds good to me. The Hermes needs to just kind of disengage as fast as he can. Which looks like this may be my best disengagement. Because then no one can see him. And we will set up for a better disengagement. Urban mech. So, shots. We were putting a shitload of shots on this urban mech. It positioned itself poorly, and we are able to focus fire on it. Over here, we are just kind of taking shots where we can. Well, this Warhammer did have weakened back armor, as I recall. So we'll put some shots downrange. Alternatively, we could just kind of take a shot that's more likely to hit at this archer and just put some extra damage on it before the pilot wakes up. I think that's what I'll do with you, because you've got such bad shots in general. Anyone else can provide me shots that will probably do stuff against this Warhammer. Not great, better, and we haven't put a lot of stripping on the Banshee yet. On the other hand, if that shot hits, it's good. On the other hand, we could take a pretty good shot on this archer to start drilling some more damage into it before it wakes up. Okay, yeah, you too. You also provide some shots on that downed archer, large laser, LRM-10. Your LRM-10 in particular is going to be good. That may, it could hit the head with its multiple shots. You are gathering data. You have a bevy of, give me your damage, high to low. You have a lot of short range stuff that's not in range, but you do have two LRM-10s. I actually want taking those back shots on the Warhammer and seeing if you can get through its weakened back armor spots. Ostsal, do the twist, and taking shots at this urban mech. He is badly heat taxed, so we're just going to be taking one shot. Wolverine could take shots on the archer, but instead is taking shots on this urban mech. Kind of badly heat taxed. But let's see here. This would put you at 7, so 15. Yeah, that would just be one over, and it's a pretty good shot. Versus you could put two of those downrange and be still heat neutral. I'll take the one better shot over that and get me closer to heat neutrality. The Chippewa, here's where things get fun again. Since I'm pretty sure I don't have to do it in order, I'm going to select this target, this place for bombing. Fire 2 bombs. I'm going to target this place for bombing and fire 2 bombs. Target this place for bombing and fire. I'm out of bombs, so this is the bombing run I'm taking, putting a lot of pain around this area. And after that, I am out of bombs. And over here, we were putting LRMs on this urban mech, should it still be alive. You were hiding. You have an AC-10. Just one more to help keep that archer down. Alright, what do? Orion misses all of its shots. It had really bad. We kept at its long range, as we said. Only decent shot it had, and it's not even a decent shot, was a 10 AC-10. Didn't hit. Enemy urban mech had better shots and does land its AC-10 on my Wolverine. That's a shot that I didn't want to take, but I can take it. Banshee misses with its PPCs and AC-5s. Warhammer misses a PPC. Our Shadowhawk lands a PPC on the urban mech arm and lands a trio of missiles on its center torso. Our Wolverine firing on the archer manages to miss. It's an unconscious mech. Come on. Our Centurion actually lands shots, hitting the left torso and landing the LRM-10 on the left arm and left torso. So just in case she wakes up, the mech will be additionally stripped. Crusader does manage to hit one of those LRM-10s into its rear, but doesn't hit that open spot that I spotted. Ostsal zaps the urban mech in its right arm, destroying it, and then goes into the right torso. Wolverine zaps it in the right torso, destroys that, and puts damage into its center torso. The Chippewa. Bombs are dropping, hitting the Warhammer, hitting the Commando on its left arm and destroying it, hitting the Banshee, hitting the Orion, hitting the center torso of the Warhammer, hitting the Commando. The Commando is down to 2 internal structure on its center torso. It is almost gone. Banshee damaged, Orion damaged. Commando takes some damage on its left arm, destroyed its left torso, and 2 damage to its center torso. It's got 1 armor remaining there. And our Trebuchet hits the urban mech, goes into its center torso on damage, pops it on the head, and the guy blacks out. And after he'd taken that much damage, he better. falls over on his left leg, and is unconscious on the ground. However, the archer does wake up, so it was a good idea that we started putting more extra damage on it. Once again, our excellent tactics keep us ahead of the enemy. So, how are you going to respond to this circumstance? Their commando is doing a suicide run. He is rushing out into the open, desperately asking for us to spend one more turn paying attention to a light mech rather than paying attention to their heavies. I refuse. We have your heavies in a pincher, and now is the ideal time to take them on. I should have checked if I have range on these guys with the Chippewa at altitude 6. Oh well. So, actions to take. First off, the urban mech. sorry, man. Sorry, man. Keep waddling. The Hermes I disengaged because it's got a nasty exposed spot. Now, granted, it would have to take a lot of damage on specifically that spot to lose anything. But what might be most beneficial, just for right now, we send him on a wide flank so that he can kind of join this element and get some back shots on these guys. So we'll keep him disengaged for right now. Wolverine is pushing up hard. The only thing pointing backwards right now is the Orion, and I feel pretty confident that we can take that. I want to kind of get myself onto rear arcs as much as possible with these guys, even though this person in particular doesn't have great shots. Turn 1, 2, 3, turn 4, 5, turn 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this could be the Crusader spot, so I don't trust you to get through that. Let's just put you like this. Or better yet, walk you all the way up here, give you some rear shots on this archer. Trebuchet, now is the time for actually just straight up engaging, putting mech versus mech, and having a slug fight. Because this Orion is pointing this way, and that's going to give him some trouble actually getting his best weapons on target here. I'm going to rush the Trebuchet up here, dedicate him to kicking this commando. My Ostsal can also dedicate himself to that task, or since he's a pretty crack pilot too, can close up on this archer and deny it its best weapons, or can just kind of close up in general, although then the Orion can torso twist and hit him. What would be really great, yes, that's what I'm looking for. That's going to make it hard for the Orion to hit me with anything except potentially his AC-10. And I bet we can take an AC-10 with this thing. Wolverine, I would not want to take an AC-10 with now because she's kind of been... She's got an exposed spot, but then again, it shouldn't be too bad. I might be able to also put her on kicking duties. Not quite. If I jump jetted her into these woods, wouldn't really achieve much. If I jump jetted her into this position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she could see the sides on that archer and would also be largely protected from that Orion. So if we jump and turn, we should have some decent shots. Over here, I want you doing kind of a cannonball run to get rear shots on that Warhammer. In fact, can you do that with a less of a cannonball run and still be in large laser range? Yeah, you'd be just as good of large laser range. One more point would make your LRM 10 better, though. Let's do that. Crusader, I figured out this complicated move. I guess I just wasn't looking at it right. I could try to have her go over the rubble. What's your move for that? 4? You should be able to make it across that, right? You should be able to do that. I'm going to put my trust in Happy. There you go, Happy. Trust reciprocated. My Shadowhawk has a couple exposed areas, but as long as I'm moving it fast, it shouldn't be too much of a risk. So I can also dedicate it to commando kicking. And that will still leave it at short PPC range on this archer. So maybe that's what we'll focus on. The Chippewa is currently at velocity 1 and is going to use that to sort of disengage, although we'll be running a slight experiment. That experiment will be whether we are in range to fire our weapons at this commando as we go. Because this thing is heavily armed enough that even though we're done with our bombs, I want it to do some strafing runs. Whoosh. Who's left to move? Oh, you're gathering info. Or actually, weren't you done gathering info? Yes, you are done gathering info. You gathered info turn before and last turn. Actually, I can't remember. Let's just hang on. I'm going to make myself a note. And just because I want her to be safe anyway, it's okay for her to stay embedded in those trees. So I'm just going to leave her for one more turn. Just make sure that I'm not cheating. And next turn, she's good to go. Good work, us, for getting through that rubble. Bad work, you guys, for standing up. Urban Mech, what shots you got, buddy? You can try to put one up the tailpipe of this Banshee. You could try to put one up the tailpipe of this Archer. All of those are pretty much going to be equivalently bad shots for you, so... Poof. Hermes is going on a wide flank. My Wolverine... So how badly is the rear armor on this Archer damaged? Pretty soft. I definitely want to take her shots on that. Now, she's not a good shot, but that large laser shot is pretty acceptable. We take that. We take the medium laser. And we take the SRM-6 because, you know, it's not going to hit, but if it does hit, it'll spread some nice crit procking. Over here, we are not aiming at the Urban Mech, you silly billies. We are launching LRM-15s. Now, we're a little overheated, unfortunately, so we got to take it easy. But we were launching LRM-15s downrange at that... downrange at the Archer here. I think the Archer is our primary target, except for things that we've got specific rear shots on. So we are looking to take that Archer the fuck out. Give it an LRM-15, but then gauge your heat for next time. Over here, we've declared the Archer the target of our ire. So give it a fair amount of ire in the form of a large laser and 2 mediums. which is going to be exactly 16. That sounds like a pretty good heat balance to me. We could take a butt shot, but that's really not necessary. Who's targeting right now? Ah, the Wolverine. Wolverine doesn't have great shots in general because of its jump, but we can go ahead and take some unlikely medium shots at this Wasp since we are putting just a shitload of fire on it. Gonna go ahead and fire the SRM-6s also. That puts me 2 over. Centurion, you have specific shots on that Warhammer. Now, I just want to make sure. I did see it does have weak spots on its rear. And in fact, if you land your large laser anywhere on its rear, you're going to open it up. And on the center torso, you'd even proc a crit. So, put shots on its rear with the large laser. Your medium laser could hit. How much does the LRM 10? 4, 3, 7? That's, yeah. Give that also. Your butt laser won't hit, but then your LRM 10, if we manage to do any stripping, this LRM 10 will probably do some good crit procking. So, downrange. You have butt shots on the Banshee. The Banshee has not taken much damage at all. And it does have some pretty slabby back armor. But if we start chipping away at it, it will eventually reward us for that diligence. So, let's see. LRM 10's likely to hit, SRM 6 is less likely, but if we do 4-4, 4-4, well, we don't really need to do the SRM 6's yet. What we need are medium lasers for stripping. LRM 10's will do us some crit procking, but they're mostly for stripping. The Shadowhawk over here had a perfect shot on this archer, downrange, and LRM 15. The Chippewa, I'm testing. Can't hit with the LRM 15s. I'm too high, too high, too high. Okay, yeah. We are our altitude at 6 is too high to engage. We'll have to drop down a band in order to actually engage them, which we may do on a following turn. And you are gathering data. How do we do? Archer has re-engaged the LRM fight, but he's probably heat nuked himself to do so. But he has landed 12 missiles on target. Once again, looking a little weak in some places, but we're still holding. Orion misses its most dangerous thing, hits with the thing that was unlikely to hit with, but it doesn't follow that up with any other unlikely hits. So it can go straight to hell. Warhammer misses with its PPC, hits with its medium laser. Unfortunately, ha 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 ha! Hit my head, but I said no, don't hit my head. Forced a reroll, and instead it put some damage on my right torso. So good, we weathered the Warhammer. Banshee misses. Then we start taking shots. Our Urban Mech misses, unfortunately. Our Wolverine misses all of her shots, but that's not surprising. Trebuchet manages to land its LRM-15. 12 of its missiles hit on the Archer, stripping armor all over. Ostsol puts more shots onto that Archer. Large, medium, and medium all hit. Its armor is looking weak all over. Wolverine misses all of her shots, but they weren't likely anyway. Centurion hits that large laser right on the right torso rear, which strips its back armor down to nothing. Medium laser misses. LRM-10 hits on left torso rear, so unfortunately no more exposures, but its back armor is failing. Crusader misses most of her shots, but does do a little bit of stripping on the back armor of the Banshee. Shadowhawk does land its PPC. We are into internal structure on its left torso, and do a little more damage. The archer was procced for 20 more damage, can't take it, falls over, and blacks out again. Now she's at 4 hits and 10 to stay conscious. She's probably out of this fight. Rock'em sock'eming that archer has likely taken that unit home for us. I could punch a building. I don't want to. I could kick a mech. I totally want to. So my base is 3. So I'm very likely to recover even if I miss. So I am safe in taking this. Who else has physical attacks? Isn't it? Oh, I could punch a building. Duh. I also want to kick over here. 3 is my base. So how do we do? We missed. We hit. We are into internal structure on its left leg and do a critical hit to its left leg. In spite of that, the guy still manages to stay standing. And we succeed all of our rolls to stay standing. That urban mech stays unconscious. The urban mech on the enemy side would move, but he's unconscious, so all of their movements are going to be before mine. So what's the move, you dudes? Oh, I've still... Aha! My Hellcat came back. My Hellcat came back. Now, how is your armor doing? You've still got a lot of armor, it's just you can't take those PPCs very well. But you should only take those PPCs if you actually fly over something that's got a PPC. Or an AC-10. What you could do for me, instead, is you could go pretty much around here-ish. And hopefully wherever that commando moves, you can move as well. All of his short-range weaponry shouldn't be able to take shots back at you, and you should be able to take shots at him. That's what I'm going to bank on. All of the other enemy stuff has weapons that are too long range. This is a very interesting strategy. Enemy has faced its back to my Ostsal. That's, and it's kind of staring me down with its Warhammer. This is very interesting to me. Okay, figuring out how to handle that. The Warhammer has kind of singled himself out as being the target that we can look at up here. Because he's put his back to the corner, and so these guys aren't going to be able to take good back shots on him. So instead, looking at this guy's armor in general, his left side is badly exposed, and he doesn't have a lot of armor left on it. If we focus a lot of fire on him this turn, we'd be able to smoke him, but the Orion also exposed his rear to me, and if we focus a lot of fire on that... So what I'm thinking... Currently it's Shadowhawk movement. Shadowhawk movement means that I want to use a PPC. To use a PPC, if I moved like right here, and in fact, even if I just sort of took a detour and moved like right here, turning this way, I'd have some pretty good back shots on that Orion. I like my options with that. But I'd also have good shots on the Warhammer. Either way, it works for me. And I'm in cover, and I moved a bit. Urban Mech is crippled and withdrawing, except that he's unconscious, so he is doing no such thing. My Chippewa is currently at 0 velocity. I need to accelerate. She can take some more heavy hits, like from those PPCs. So I'm just going to, once again, put her on a lazy arc to re-engage on a following turn. Centurion is now facing down a Banshee, but the Banshee isn't particularly damagey, so instead, well, okay. Can't hit rear armor on the Warhammer, and the side of it that is facing to us is still very heavily armored. Instead, it might behoove us this turn to sort of jink around, get up on this Banshee, and just start laying into it. Because it's still got most of its armor. That said, that's another thing I could also target, because it also faced its rear to these guys. Alright, hang on. I gotta get focused. I gotta focus up. Who's getting targeted with what? The Warhammer's right side is better armored than its left side, but not significantly so. Well, significantly so, actually, but, you know, not a deal breaker way. If we savaged it, we could knock out some stuff on that Warhammer, probably. The Orion is still pretty much fully armored except for his front, except for some shots we took on his rear. If we spend our Shadowhawk, our Ostsaul, our Trebuchet, all of these guys, focus firing on any one of these guys, it would probably be a bad time for them, especially the Warhammer. If we instead spent all of our time focusing on the Banshee, we might not get anywhere. So just for sake of taking out enemy units that are a threat, we're going to push up, but we're pushing up with the idea of putting any accurate shots that we can on the Warhammer. Any other shots that aren't as accurate will be taking on the Banshee. That's the game plan. So we want to close distance on that Warhammer, just to give us the best shots possible. The Hellcat needs to accelerate. Oh, actually, he's already got one velocity. So he can turn, fly over this commando, and just kind of follow the same path as the Chippewa for a re-engagement next turn. I'm going to see if that does what I think it does. I haven't really checked. Whoosh. We're going to try to put some zaps on that commando. My Ostsaul is in kind of the perfect position, but I don't want him to just sit still. So instead, I'm going to be taking a triangle maneuver and getting behind this Orion directly. My Trebuchet, I want to push him up so that he's got good shots on the Warhammer. That's apparently pretty easy. So I need to actually kook up his movement a bit so that I've got good shots on the Warhammer and I move a lot. My Crusader, I am just zeroing in on that Warhammer. Although I don't want to put too far over on the side, I do need to start getting up on that Banshee for doing damage to it too, so. And Wolverine currently can't be seen by the Orion, but I don't want her to just stay still. If we push up a lot like this, we kind of abandon the nice cover that we got. And in fact, that Orion could then torso twist and kind of lay into me. So if instead, I just sort of move around the side to here, I can get shots on the Warhammer and still be kind of joining this element. I bet you can do that. Good work. The Hermes was already planning on joining this element, and I know that he can do this. Excellent work. Oh, fuck you. Oh, hell, he skidded into the building. But it has no basement. Okay, fine. Lesson learned. People can't make fours all the damn time. Alright, this commando was coming to sort of intercept my wasp, so fortunately this note tells me it's time to get away. So, see you, fucko. I'm leaving. In fact, I am leaving in a way that will allow me to turn a little bit this way, so you can't see my butt. Oh. Honestly, does running help you at all? It gets you 1 point closer to being in medium range. So yeah, keep running until you're... So he skid on the pavement, he ran into a building, crunched into it, uh, did some damage to it and himself. Fortunately, it has no basement, so... You know, lucked out there, but that's just kind of embarrassing. So we were taking just a shitload of shots on this Warhammer. That's the plan. That's what's going to net us victory. Gonna knock out this Warhammer. That's several less PPCs that we have to worry about. Put shots downrange on that asshole. Whose current Bing is it? The Chippewa? Chippewa doesn't have any sight on anyone. We were putting shots downrange on that Warhammer. We are putting zaps. We are putting zaps. We are putting fooshes. 2 points overheat. That's fine. Nowhere close to small laser range. We could take shots at the urban mech, but that's even if we didn't aim, that's still at 8s compared to 8s. So we can actually get some decent shots even with the rook on this guy. Let's go ahead and, from damage high to low, give a medium laser, and an SRM-6. This Hellcat is within range to start making some laser shots on this guy. Damage high to low, we've got 2 PPCs that we could savage him with. That would put me at 20 heat. We also have 4 medium lasers. Let's just go with the 2 PPCs. Slam those into him and see if that takes him out. Over here, we were... Boy, that is just so damn tempting to just drill into his back. Okay, I'm not going to focus everything on that Warhammer, because this is just too tempting an opportunity to pass up. It is a perfect back shot. With large laser putting me 2 over, I could also go up to as much as 8 over. 8 is going to be penalties to shoot and movement, but just because, looking at his back armor, a single large laser on here or here won't do anything. But if a large laser hits here, it's into criticals. If a large laser hits either of those and then we follow it up with anything, it's into criticals. It's an opportunity I absolutely can't pass up. Sorry, I closed out the thing. So, give me large lasers and overheat yourself to give me medium lasers on his back. Over here, though, we are staying on target and putting some fooshes downrange. Over here, we are staying on target, putting some... Let's see here. all of this together is like 16 from these four, 20 from these. I could go up to 22, and that would give me 6 over, which is penalties to move, which I don't particularly care about. So I am going to lay a medium laser and a medium laser, and then an LRM-10 and an LRM-10, then 2 SRM-6s on that Warhammer, and we're going to see where that leaves us. Over here, we've got a large laser long-range shot on this guy, and that's about it, unfortunately. Over here, we're probably going to just have to recover from having fucked up an easy roll. Over here, we don't have shots on this commando, but hopefully he doesn't have shots on us either. Neener, neener. Over here, we've got an AC-10. We can put it downrange on this guy, or on this guy. We'll take this one, it's slightly more likely to hit. How do we do? Warhammer hits my Ostsal with the 2 medium lasers, and with 4 SRMs, but that's just kind of pop damage all around. Commando fires at my trebuchet, misses. Oh, it probably had back shots on that. I should have paid better attention to that. Blah, blah, blah. Orion slaps my trebuchet on its right leg with an AC-10, but misses everything else. Banshee misses. Shadowhawk hits that Warhammer on its standard gyro with a shot to the center torso. This guy's going down. Centurion, well, unfortunately misses everything. Wolverine manages to zap it with that laser, exposing its right arm. It slaps it with the SRM-6, 4 of those missiles, popping all around and critically its PPC, so that's out of action. Well, one of them. The Hellcat zaps the commando with the PPC on the left leg and destroys it, then zaps it, well, actually, that one zap on its left leg destroys the leg, transfers the left torso, destroys the left torso, transfers the center torso. Okay, this thing was already extremely damaged, so it was destroyed by center torso damage, and it was put on the ground, so good strafing run, Hung Huang. Maybe I should just call you Hang Guang. Anyways, Ostsal, excellent! 2 lasers right to its center torso, hits on the gyro. That's going to cause him to fall over. He may not be a good enough pilot to get back up, but whether he is or not, that's going to expose him. Trebuchet lands shots on the center torso of that Warhammer. It's getting badly rocked. Crusader shots on the left torso. Unfortunately misses everything else. This Warhammer is actually lucked out on a lot of the shots we put down range on it. Orion hit on the gyro, falls over. Thump, but manages to avoid damage from the fall. Warhammer pilot fails, falls over. It's crunched on his stuff, takes damage. He's at 2 total hits, but stays conscious. And just to make sure, I'm going to put my foot up this guy's butt. Over here, I'm doing no such thing. Crunch significantly into center torso. If I want to destroy that thing, I pretty much can now. You've got to be kidding me. Stay unconscious, you idiot. Well, okay, both of their guys wake up. And the Orion moves after my Chippewa. Okay, whatever. So I get to see how many of them try to stand up with a broken gyro and fail. Fail, damn you. Welp. Couldn't ask for much better than that. Couldn't be much more confused than this. Okay. So, Warhammer stood up, tried to stand up several times and just kept falling over. At that rate, he's going to bust himself apart. There's just not much of this Warhammer left. I mean, I want to just look at this guy real quick. Yeah, he's down to no armor on anywhere except his right leg and right torso. He's just a bundle of critical areas. How he's only down to 2 hits is kind of amazing. I bet he rolled a fuckload of 10s on not taking damage, the lucky bastard, but since he is planted on the ground and does have a PPC that is out of action, I'm willing to bet that he can't do a hell of a lot to us, so we can focus our attention elsewhere. This guy is up to apparently just kind of stayed where he stood up, but otherwise stayed where he is. And this guy exposed his butt to us. I really don't understand. So, Chippewa targets. Chippewa targets. Could put the Chippewa, try to put the Chippewa on the Warhammer, but that might be a hard maneuver. We've got to accelerate in order to keep moving. I could take a run. Well, so I'm gonna have to accelerate twice to get anywhere this turn. With 2 accelerations, I'm already good for turning. And then I could just go like this, take a hard turn, and maybe zap that Banshee. If I instead... So what do I want to target? I want to target the Banshee, because the Banshee has still got lots of his health, and although he has a PPC, he's a bad shot with it. So a move like this should allow me to get a lot of shots on him and then fly away, and I need to strip off a lot of his armor. The Centurion falls over a bunch and still isn't taking hits from it. Maybe you only take the hits if you like fall down from standing? I can't remember. So, since this Banshee exposed his butt to us, pretty much what we'll want to do is stack up on it. Then again... Okay, so here's where we start having to make some decisions about, how much we want to throw damage down on things. We've got a lot of prone features. So probably all of my guys over here, since this guy is prone, we want to run over here, shoot the archer to put him back down, and then kick this guy while he's prone. We want to kind of shoot the archer with any SRMs that we have. We don't have any SRMs over here. We want to shoot him with low damage weapons that we have. We just don't have much of that. The SRMs are packed in this Crusader. So this guy has... Okay, this guy has a lot of soft areas. This guy has nothing but soft areas. What we kind of want to do is we'll put the Centurion rush up to help kick this Orion. He's got lots of armor all around him still, so we do need to still strip a lot of him and then kick him and then just kind of put him down. The Crusader here, I need to move up behind this Banshee because you have the hardest kick. And just try to burn through his back armor and see if you can't put him down that way. The Hellcat has 1 velocity, so that does work the way I think it does. You can accelerate on the next turn. But apparently that already set my acceleration, so I can't accelerate anymore. which is kind of a pain because that caps me on a very tight arc. That's not going to really get me anything. So what let's do, we'll just cruise around the border and get onto this same kind of firing solution. And then next turn we'll accelerate up a bunch. In fact, just to get on exactly the same firing solution. Wait, shit, did I parked someone again? Who did I park? I parked the Wolverine. Well, that's not the worst thing I could have parked. I keep getting confused on the planes. Anyway, where am I? Trebuchet. Trebuchet has one last volley of LRM-15s. Could use it on the Warhammer. More inclined to use it on the Archer, because that could use a mix of both stripping and crit procking. So we're just gonna back up a little bit. That's just as much of a penalty, so just boop. No. Just boop. You need to get out of that hole and stop embarrassing yourself. No, no. You need to get out of that hole and stop embarrassing yourself. Shadowhawk. Shadowhawk, I want to kind of close up and also be part of the kicking circle over here. Maybe could even put a shot through the trees on that urban mech. Actually, let's have some options in our kicking circle. Actually, let's not, because that archer can kick back and I don't want it to. Ugh. Over here, want to kind of back you up behind this Banshee. That does work. So that it can't target you with its fists. And you maybe just help with stripping it. I really don't know what to do with you, Zero. I want to move you so that that Banshee doesn't have easy shots on you. But I kind of want you to be in the same place, because... yeah, there's just not much to do. Just kind of turn and accept that you're going to give some easy shots to a Banshee. Because I want you as part of this kicking circle. You... zoom... So, here's what they did to themselves. Warhammer is... they're just beating the crap out of themselves by falling over and over and over and again. But goddamn, keep track of this. All right, nines. 27% chance. You know, like 1 out of 4 times roughly, you should succeed on a 9. I thought that this was weird. Needs a 9, succeeds. Needs a 9, succeeds. Needs a 9, succeeds. Needs a 2, falls, takes 1 damage. Needs an 11 after he already rolled a 12. 11 is an 8.3% chance. These fuckers are cheating. They're using loaded dice. Then he gets up on a 10, or gets up with a 10. Urban Mech falls over. He only needed a 6. That's more reasonable. 6 like a 72% chance. I understand that one. Now, he's still falling over a lot. And Does manage to take an extra point of damage. But seriously? Seriously? You're just being difficult. You are just being difficult. Alright, we're wailing on this Banshee. Our damage from high to low. We can just put an awful lot of freem on this guy. Oh shit, I forgot to go down. We can't put any freem on him. Ah, whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Alright, note for self. We should start at altitude 6 for bombing, then go down for additional fun. The Centurion, I could take shots on this guy's back. Strip through, deal damage, knock out the archer, help kick the Orion. I think that's kind of what I want to do. I'm getting a little greedy. I'm putting my shots all over the place right now, but no, I don't want to twist like that. The Banshee will have good back shots on me. But I'm just, all of these guys are on such life support. The only reason that they are still operating is because the dice gods favored them hideously. But just taking everything I've got in my arsenal to zap those guys. I could also take a zap at this guy with a butt laser. Why not? LRM-10's not going to hit, so don't worry about that. But Crusader, your job is, well, oh, come on. Yeah, I can ignore that for a little bit. Let's see. Crusader, either put them on the Banshee or on the Warhammer. They've actually got missiles that they could... You know what? We're going to put them on the Banshee for right now, because we're just trying to zap through that thick-ass back armor. We're going to be putting ourselves at 5 overheat, but that's fine. We aren't firing anything else. Hellcat isn't in any position to fire. You see, you have to have them along your flight path to have a good shot at them when you're at this altitude. The only other way is to do like a dive bomb on them, and that's really dangerous. Over here, we parked this one, unfortunately, but we can go ahead and take a large laser shot. I guess if you twist, are you gonna? Nope, just outside of. So we'll take a large laser shot on this Warhammer just to have someone try to put him down. One large laser shouldn't destroy it. I wouldn't mind taking one of these home in some kind of intact condition, but they're making it really hard on me. Over here, we were putting LRM-15s downrange on this Archer? Yes. Our last 2 LRM-15s going out at the Archer to prove once and for all who is the archiest. Over here, I don't know if you'll be able to twist enough to see... Well, you can twist enough to put a shot on that Banshee. Take it. Take that shot. And you were going to get in part in the kicking circle and also see if you just can't land another shot on that urban mech. For funsies. You urban mech are going to watch in horror as more crimes are perpetuated against your kind, but also provide an AC-10 shot downrange on this Banshee. You were going to provide some more shots downrange on this Banshee. Give me a medium laser, and an SRM-6. Ostsal, I want you focusing down this guy. You're 9 overheat, so I need to kind of take it a little easy. A large laser would put you at 17, which is overheat. 2 of these would put you at 15, underheat. Let's do the underheat, and then we'll try to build up next. We'll be good for next turn. Wasp, you actually do have a shot. Take it, why not? So what do we do? Mild heart attack. Banshee lands a shot on my head, and unfortunately this is the second headshot that Ueda already took, so his edge isn't in effect. Fortunately, he's got a fully armored head, so he manages to live, but ouch. Any more headshots will kill him whatsoever. That's not a good time. I need to actually get him out of here just because I don't want Lady Luck to give me another fucking tragedy. So fuck you, you Banshee piece of shit. Orion can't fire much because it's prone. Our Centurion zaps into the Archer's rear and finds its LRM-20 ammo and detonates it, and so much for it. That's one less enemy mech on the field. Our Crusader is just savaging the rear armor on this thing, but it's just got so damn much. Center, torso, rear, it's got 12 armor remaining, Jesus. Left leg, misses one of its SRMs, but strips some more. Wolverine zaps that Warhammer and blows its right leg off. Haha, you have a damaged gyro and your left leg's missing. You're fucked. Get out of that thing. Trebuchet manages to hit the exploded archer. Hermes misses. Urban Mech misses. Or Shadowhawk misses the Urban Mech. Enemy Urban Mech fires at our Urban Mech misses. Our Wolverine manages to put a little more extra damage on the left arm of that Banshee. The Ostsal manages to put its shots on that Orion. And the Banshee has to roll and succeeds. We took care of the Archer. Now we are all going to kick this Orion. We are not going to kick buildings. We are going to kick this Orion. We are going to kick this Orion. 2 hit 0. We are not going to kick buildings. So, crunch, crunch. We are into internal structure on its right torso and left arm. AC 10 damage, AC 10-ish damage, SRM 4 is damage, so this thing is pretty much out of commission with all of its dangerous stuff. We went into a bit of heat tax with the Crusader, but that's about it. So, show me your moves. There's only 4 of you left. The Warhammer is abandoned. The Banshee is backing up into a corner. This Orion has knocked himself out, but not forever. This Urban Mech has apparently still not knocked himself out, but, you know, he put a bunch more damage on himself trying to move anywhere. So, Orion is down, but not forever. I probably will need to finalize him. That Banshee, however, is still a problem. He still has a weapon, and he still has armor aplenty. I need to put a shitload of heat on him in order to finally take him down. And I can't rely on Gerald to do part of that because unfortunately his cockpit almost doesn't exist anymore. He's currently in a convertible. What I can do... He's unconscious on a 2 KO. That's not going to keep him out of the action forever. I need to actually stop playing around and finish off some of these fuckers. So what I'm going to do, you are going to go finish off this Urban Mech. That's your job. Put him down. You are going to contribute to taking out this Banshee. To do so, get your PPC in an ideal range. In fact, could you just quick check on torso twist? Yeah. In fact, just go ahead and turn like that. Move a little bit, get him in with range. Wasp, you are kind of zooming around the side so that no enemies can see you and you can continue giving us our evac option because you've got the vital data. Wolverine, move a bunch, but get that Banshee in close. Trebuchet, you are out of missiles. You fired all your missiles, so you have to close up to put lasers on him. And just kind of turn this way so that we can get a start on avoiding that rubble. Crusader, Happy, you're going to close up on this guy but not get within kicking distance. Urban Mech, continue puttering forward. Chippewa, let's see here. You've got a velocity 1, so you've got to start coming around for another attack run. Hellcat, accelerate twice. And we're going to see if we can't get you on a perfect run against the Banshee. There you go. Wolverine, move on in. Ostsal, get the fuck out. I would really prefer you to be somewhere that the Banshee can't see you. But I don't know if that's going to be possible. I don't think it is. I think he can see you anywhere you could. Actually, maybe. No? No? Yeah, sadly, he can see you anywhere. So at least here, he's got to contend with an awful lot of trees. Hermes 2, how's your armor looking after that crash? You could take a PPC anywhere. That's the important part. Rush up. We need to get your shots on this Banshee. Orion, pilot blacked out on a 5, so he's not going to stay unconscious long. Centurion, your job. Sorry. Start calling these people by who they actually are. Twinkle Toes. I got a little too drilled in. Twinkle Toes, your job is to finalize this urban mech. Give him lasers. Give him lasers. Give him a small laser. And put him down. Step on him if you have to. Shadowhawk, we are putting damage downrange on this Banshee. Wasp, you are getting the vital data. Many Bothans died for it. Or Lyrans, whatever. We are doing our medium SRM6 combo. Or actually, we should do the large medium SRM6 combo. We are putting medium lasers downrange on this guy. Although, quick check. How you doing on headshots? You actually have pretty good headshots, if I'm being honest. That could actually also be very nice. I'm going to dedicate your fire. Let's see here. That'll put you 5 over, but that's no penalty that we're really worried about. And if we land one of those headshots, we do more damage and at the very least put that Orion in a position where it won't wake up sooner. Crusader, however, I need you to put a lot of extra hurt on this guy. Give him 2 medium lasers and an SRM-6, and that'll just put you 3 over. We will heat eco you down. Urban Mech, come on, buddy. The Chippewa doesn't have a target right now. The Hellcat absolutely does. He's got 2 PPCs that he can put on that target. Foom Fume. Our Wolverine can take the standard large laser, medium laser. Let's just also do another medium laser. That'll put me 2 over. The Ostsol, unfortunately, I don't think that you're going to be able to help with head capping. Well, actually, you could. With your butt laser. But that is incredibly unlikely to hit. Instead, I'd like you to help finish off this Urban Mech. Give it a large laser and 2 mediums. Hermes, a quick check on your headshot, much better than the other guys. Try that. How do we do? Banshee misses. Good. Our Centurion hits the Urban Mech on a side that doesn't exist, and it transfers deeper in until it's got no armor remaining on its center torso rear. Then deals a little more damage to it. So Urban Mech still exists. PPC from our Shadowhawk hits the Banshee in its leg and is searing off some armor. LRM-5 hits, sears off some armor. Wolverine, medium laser hits, armor. Trebuchet zaps it right in the zaps that Orion in the head twice. Is into internal structure, and this guy is taken 4 hits, so he's likely unconscious for the rest of this match anyway. I mean, we've seen people stand up on 10s before, but, you know, fuckers. Crusader strips off more of the armor on the Banshee. Hellcat comes in and strips all of the armor off of its left arm and hits it in the left torso. And our Ostsol does destroy the Urban Mech. That means it's done for. Good. Banshee, taken enough damage that it falls over. Unfortunately, we missed the other headshots, but we have put enough damage on that. We put enough damage on the that other guy, that he's probably out of this fight. Banshee is fallen over, and that's going to give us some options as long as he can't stand back up. We're not kicking buildings. So let's see if we can't just hurry this up. Alright, show me your move. Banshee actually does manage to stand up. And moves into a position where we can get nothing but back shots on him. I don't know what his game plan is. Ostsol, you are... No, I guess that's not hiding. I really want you to hide. Hiding would be my favorite thing for you to do. This hides. This doesn't? No, that totally does. I don't know what I was looking at. So yeah, just hide in this corner. The Hellcat, you're pretty much done for this fight. I don't think you're going to be able to come back around in time. So just kind of fly off. I mean, if it's still going on by that point, sure, but I don't think it will. Who are my heaviest mechs here? The Crusader and the two Wolverines. I'm going to put all of them on this guy's legs, on his back arc, so that he can twist and shoot at me, but that's all he can do. So, to do that, I need you to go here, and then turn at least like this so that you can get him on kicks. You have velocity 0, accelerate, and let me see if I can't... What if I accelerate twice? That looks like a no. And I bet if I accelerate 3 times... Well, you could, but I think that just means penalties. But you'd be moving so fast that you'd overshoot. So unfortunately, all I can really do with you this turn is say probably that guy's going to exist next turn. So kind of stick to this end of the map. Get into a good position where next turn you can come and intercept him. The Centurion succeeded at its task. So instead, now kind of just closing in on this Banshee. Urban Mech. Closing in on this Banshee, I guess. Wolverine. Behind this Banshee. Who's my best shot? The Hermes? Hermes, I want you to go and try to head cap this thing. Just to make sure that he doesn't get a 10 on this last turn and get away. Wasp, keep getting away. Trebuchet, you did some excellent work with head capping, so you can also contribute. Crusader, turn around. Shadowhawk, I guess close up from behind on this Banshee. Get some rear arc shots. Hermes, I want you to go over to this Orion. Needs a 5, gets a 10. Ostsal is hiding. Wolverine is twisting and hitting this guy with the standard issue Razzle Dazzle. Chippewa's not in position. Then Centurion is taking shots at this guy with, let's see here, once again, large laser, and small laser is all within heat. Not bothering with the LRM-10. We can actually give this guy an AC-10 and a small laser. Your little piddly dreams have come true. We've got rear shots here. Large laser, SRM-6. Or medium, SRM. You are getting away. Trebuchet, you are taking head caps. Zap, zap, zap. Crusader, you're giving him medium, SRM. You are just putting a PPC into his tuchus. And Hermes, you were also going to fire head cap, just try to be sure. So, Banshee hits my trebuchet on the left torso, but we can take it. Our Wolverine is into right arm and gets a critical to hit that blows its right arm off without further damaging it, so we may be able to reattach that. Centurion misses all of its shots on the Banshee. That's unfortunate. Urban Mech misses all of his shots, also unfortunate. Our other Wolverine that's behind zaps in. Poop. My trebuchet accidentally zaps the guy in his center torso and destroys it. Oh well. Crusader is zapping into the Banshee. It's taking critical hits all over, but does not get the critical procer. Shadowhawk does not hit. Guy manages to stay standing, but now our plan is to not punch buildings because we're professionals, but instead kick the shit out of this guy. We crunch him on his right leg twice. He's got very little left in his right leg, and despite having to roll 3 times, fails none of them. He gets a pretty good chunk of rolls. There's still this guy on the he's still here. He's maneuvered on me. He's trying to take out my Crusader with a crucial leg kick, but no one told him that he can't do that. It's against the rules. Keep. Oh, I probably should have just walked you. Whatever. Honestly, once again, I just kind of need people behind him. I'm in the kind of part where. So let's just look at this guy, because his back armor is actually still holding pretty well. We need to stack up a bunch more guys on his back to be able to burn through that significantly. And his central armor is also holding really well. He's got one weak spot, a right leg. If we hit that with anything significant, it's gone, and we've put him on the ground. Really, what I think we do, we just kind of put guys behind him. And after being behind him, can we back up into woods? No. But, just kind of back up. You're still rushing for the goal line. Can we get you behind him? Pretty convincingly. I'd prefer if you turned the other way. Who am I moving? My Chippewa. With 2 accelerations, you can definitely get on him and get away. However, before I forget, you also need to... But honestly, at this point, I just don't want to risk it. This Chippewa could take damage on its nose and crash and burn. Call me a coward, but this thing was expensive and it's really kind of done work already. Yes, I guess if you somehow a fluke renders you the only thing available, sure. I don't want to expose my Osal because the guy can torso twist anywhere and hit with his PPC. Unless, hang on, quick check. Did that guy lose his PPC? No, he still got that. That's in his right torso. So yeah, my Osal, I just want to leave here because he can't see it, and I don't want to lose his head. Over here, we've got more opportunity to kick him. Over here, we can, once again, just kind of back up and prepare to enter a tree line. Over here, well, shit, I should have planned this a little better. I won't be able to kick with the Crusader, the heaviest thing I got. Although I didn't kick last turn because I fucked up. I fucked up and forgot that the Crusader can't kick if it fires its legs. That's so stupid. Why would you put that in the legs? So, twist, give him the AC 10, the Razzle Dazzle. Honestly, I mostly just want this guy's components. I'm not going to use his mech, so I don't mind zapping him a shitload and potentially destroying him. Zap, zap, zap. Done. I guess a zap. Oh wait, no, I said done instead. Whoops, well, whatever. Razzle dazzle. Zap zap. Foosh. Zap zap zap. Oh, sorry, you have to twist. Zap zap. Zap. Twist. And give him... It's so stupid. Reserve your damage, because I want you to punch. No, that's stupid. Your punch would only be like 6 to these 5s. Yeah, totally unleash the mediums. Alright. Urban Mech hits the Banshee right in the right leg, destroying it. Ha-ha! Put him on the ground. Then we shoot him in the left arm. Then we shoot him just a piss load more. Do we actually destroy him? No. But he automatically falls with a damaged gyro and both of his... Okay. This thing should not be able to stand back up. This guy should eject from it. Because he's missing an arm, missing a leg, and he's got a damaged gyro. He can't pilot. He can't pilot. He should leave. He didn't leave. Because he's unconscious. Alright, he's unconscious. That is slash victory. There are no more effectives on the field. And so, we just kind of stand here. Except for our Wasp, who moves and delivers home the crucial information. We're done. We're fucking done. This guy is out. I'm gonna bank on it. He stays unconscious. We achieved all victory conditions. Well, whew. That was a long one. God, that was a long one. Not as the longest one I've ever done. No, that is the longest one I've ever done. Goodness gracious. But it was that long because it was one of the ones where we stuck in. And we stuck in because it's super rewarding. We've brought home a shitload of mech salvage. Ugh. It took us 16 rounds to do, but it was only with the reinforcements that we had a chance to do it. So, good work, team. I'm exhausted. I have to go to the bathroom. I will see you guys later.